Let me say back to the T.O.P. Welcome and Heru to all the people out there, all of the Genesis family out there. Let me say welcome, rise up, and everything like that. Heru. It's a privilege to be here once again with you. It's your People's Talk Show running a bit late, because it's the weather is terrible out there. All the traffic, only permission, rigmarole going on out there. No excuse, but that's the thing. That's the way it is. Let me just say welcome to all of you listening, waiting for the People's Talk Show to come in. And this is it. It's your turn. It's your platform. And please, and I want to be a bit more cordial and be a bit more aware of time. Don't just come on the radio and think that you're going to have a half an hour chat. Prepare your chat. You know what I mean? Program what you ever got to say. Don't think that you're so long-winded that you have to override every principle. You know what I mean? It's nothing like that. It's not like that anymore. You know what I mean? You just have to abide by the rules, brethren. If you've got something to say, cut it down. Don't just, you know what I mean, ride hot shot over the organisation and everything like that. You don't know the thing already, brethren. You must learn to curtail. Certain people I'm talking to, not everyone. Everyone comply. More or less, you all comply. But there's certain people that don't comply to any rules. But you have to start comply to rules. Don't be too long-winded over this thing, brethren. You got something to say, have consideration for other people. You know what I mean? So that's what we want today. So be mindful. And when you're on there, I know I do allow it myself, so I'm sort of guilty myself for allowing these things, but we have to get order. So, because I expect people can do this, I expect that they can, without any problems, curtail what they've got to say, compact it, you can't just say because you don't know how to cut your thing down. You're going to just, let it run. You ain't going to work like that anymore. So please, see if you can comply and, within reason. Think about other people. Don't think about yourself. A lot of selfish people around today. You know what I mean? And so we're going to waiting for the arrival of my companion, should I say, or my co-presenter, Leah. She's on her way. And it wasn't really my turn today, but I just I was asked to fill in, so I just complied. And I will have to Dr. X. Maybe he's on something, but if you wanted to find out a bit more about that, you can also you can always phone in the week and speak to someone here or ask for the manager and ask reasons why certain presenters are not in, but so if that's just courtesy. So I don't know. I can't tell you. Well, I'm here anyway, so you got to put up with me again. So it's okay, when you after a while you might think, it's Heru again, like humans do. You know what I mean? This is the trouble. You see, we don't really understand human nature, and if we're going to be preparing anything, we're going to be like. Proposing solutions in the community that a lot of us tend to want to do, but I find that they don't like to pose solutions. I find a lot of not many, but a few of these little fringe groups that come up about the place, they'll claim to be liberating you. Of course, they only liberate their people in the 23rd chapter of their imaginations. Really, they don't properly liberate anyone. You know what I'm saying? They go around and they see themselves as knights in shining armor. Have come no solution, but definitely they have the ability to point out problems. And I'm thinking now we've got a belly full of little fringe organisations that can only come and point out your problem, and they try to score brownie points on that. And this is what we should be aware of. We want them to know that we are fully aware of them. That as far as we're concerned, we're not all dumb. We're not all sheeple. So those that they can manage to get to rally around their cause, that's them, because they need to be led by the nose. They need to be led by people who propose to know what they're doing and what they're saying and cannot come up with a solution. That's been the case for the last 20 to 30 odd years now. We cannot come up with a solution, but we have to be mindful that we needed solutions just as anybody else needs solutions. And what we try to move away from is the miseducation of our people, the manipulation of our people, some of them, only a few fringe groups, small amount of people that are manipulated by this circumstances. Fine, and that's okay, because we always need a comparison, something to compare to that can't work and ain't been working for something that is working. You see what I'm saying? So what is working for us? On the radio, yeah? Yeah, I'm on air, yeah? I'm on air, yeah? You hear me? Okay. All right then, right on. Sorry about that, folks. And so, we're not stupid, as some of the sheep are. And this is the trouble. There's so many people around that these little know-nothing personalities can gather around and have them rally around them. And they wax lyrical, and they get themselves wound up as tight as an alarm clock with the mouth of other people, not really understanding things. So we don't look to those people for any solutions, especially if you're orientated somewhere else. So you cannot even be the catalyst for our solutions. But what I find out, there's a lot of them that are on the periphery of things, just waiting for the people to come along so they can turn them away and their minds away from solutions. They're not really interested in us finding any solutions, and they call themselves liberators. And they're always talking about, if I find most of these little fringe groups are always talking about back to Africa. And because the reason why they got to talk about Africa is because they can't solve their solutions here. And the weirdest thing is, I'm sure you're fully aware of that if you can't solve your solution here, how the hell are you going to go back 10,000 miles away and solve somebody else's problem over the sea? So it's a manipulation. And I reckon the majority of blacks have already seen that and have moved away from that. And I'm not even bothering these little fringe groups, little minority groups here, with this idea of lost identity, lost tradition, and seeking it. The question is, how can you seek these things? And if you're in a community, in a competitive community, that's what it's about. There are different groups of the world around, gathered in the same territory as you, and there's nothing you can do about that. You find yourself in this group, in this territory. You realize that you have to share the territory with people that may not even of the same idea as you. And that's not a problem. Anywhere you go in the world, you're going to find that. If you go to Africa, they're not going to have the same problem, same idea as you. Yet, it's been painted by these know-nothing personalities to look that way, that Africa is thinking the same way that they are saying. They don't tell you the truth, that they're trying to paint something of a pipe dream concerning the runnings of Africa, which is completely different from us. And I can't see why, if you're going to be here, why are you talking about, that never, it beats me. Why are you talking about a landmass 10,000 miles away? If you're going to be dealing with, you're not living there, brethren. You've been talking about it for the last 40 odd years, but you just ain't living there. You ain't going to go there. So really, you're only using that as a manipulation of my emotion, because you don't know that we've been so-called disconnected as far as you are concerned, and we've been, this and that. So you assume that I'm in need of a reconnection. I'm sure if I really wanted to reconnect back to that, I could have done it myself. I don't need nobody to tell me how to reconnect back to a motherland. I can just go there and I could become a citizen of the 54 countries, states that's there. But it's just recently, since we've been talking about this, is that they begin to think in this term now. No more emotionalism. Well, they're trying to cut down emotionalism a bit and try to look at the reality of the thing. You have to belong to any one of those 54 countries. You have to be a citizen of the country, brethren. Many moons ago, Africa was seen as Africa, not a country. One sec, folks. Yo, Steve. Yeah, I'm on here, man. Yeah, all right. Nice, man. Any one of those citizens of the country. We can see that. It used to be seen as just one homogenous whole, these little fringe group, back to Africa groups, because of the weak and impotentness of the people that they administer to, right? The sleepwalkers, I call them, that are sleepwalking their way through life, you know what I mean? In my show, if you tune into the initiation show, into initiation into higher knowledge, you see, this is where we have to be. And I've been saying that for the longest of time now. People are beginning to see there's another level. They thought that they had arrived when they were told that they were black and African. And they thought that they have arrived. They're now realizing there's a lot more to life than just being black and African. I'm telling you. And you're in a society. The weirdest thing about it is we've got to understand. Hold on, one sec. I haven't even opened the lines yet. I know I'm late, but okay, one sec. Let me see if I could accommodate this call. Go ahead, call you live. Hold on. Keep talking. Call you there. Yeah, go on. Whoa. Just about here. Keep talking.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay, Jay. Yeah, go on, Jay. Keep talking, mate. Just till I sort you out. Bloody hell. Whoa. I don't know. Why is this? Okay. Yeah, keep talking. Whoa.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, gotcha, mate. Thanks. Yeah.
Oh, you got me now?
Loud and clear, bro.
Listen, I'll tell you for the phone now.
Yeah, man.
Hello.
Enough respect for that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, bro. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What I wanted to say was, I'm thinking of taking a trip to Africa next year.
Yeah.
Because I've got on with, I've met people from Ghana, people from South Africa, people from Zimbabwe, people from Congo, people from Sierra Leone, people from Nigeria, and all my life I've met them people. I've never been to Africa.
Yeah.
But I've decided of all the countries of Africa, I like the Nigerians.
Okay.
So when I land on a continent, I'm going to land in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I'm finding the most trustworthy, most business-like, the most pro-black in the context of how they do business with the West. Everyone calls them fraudsters. And because they're fraudsters, they do to the West what the West does to them.
You reckon?
When it comes to earning money, they see the West manipulate them, so they manipulate the West. So I agree with that. But they don't all do it. They don't all do it, but some of them do, more than anyone else. So I like them for that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going there to do that sort of thing. I'm going there to travel around the place, meet the people, socialise, and maybe look at some business opportunity, or maybe some residents to visit, like get a residence there and visit it so often. I was looking at Ghana, which everyone seems to think is the best place. I do not think it's the best place.
Yeah.
But I want to find in Ghana, have a relationship with Ghana more than they do Shashamali. And the CIA, biggest CIA base outside America is in Ghana. And I see that the way the people from Ghana, the countries come to treat me, they treat me like I expect the CIA to treat me. The officials that work for the NHS, the councils, the social services, the police, they treat me the way they expect the CIA to treat me, which is in an abusive way. People from Ghana. I also don't feel I realise about Ghana is that ever since that CIA base has gone there, Ghana has become the biggest importer of cocaine to Europe and the West from the African continent.
Really?
Of all the countries there.
What?
So every time when the CIA goes, where there's black people about, they bring their cocaine trade with them. And what's happened is from Colombia, Mexico, Peru, and a few other South American countries, big cocaine producing South American countries, they're shipping the cocaine from South America to Ghana, obviously helped by the CIA, some CIA conspiracy, shipping to Ghana, because Ghana is like virgin territory, and it's not, for a time, it was unsuspected that cocaine was shipped from there, and shipped from South America to Ghana, Africa, and from Ghana to the Europe and the West.
Yeah, so...
There's a new cocaine route.
Okay, right, but here what now, G? You're saying that these people participate in this thing willingly?
Yeah.
They do. Okay, I know it's not
they
all.
Do, yeah.
I know it's not all of Ghana, but wherever the money is, the paper trail, they will do things as normal human beings will do to gain wealth, right?
Yeah.
So you're not going back to these countries as a matter of culture. You know what I mean? You're looking at it as a black and African, as where I was taken from when I was a slave. Is anything like that?
No. No, we're looking at it that way. I will look at it because I have a love and liking from what I've experienced with Nigerian people to want to visit their own land. I've had very good experiences with Nigerian people from a child even. Yeah, to add up. I've had very good experience with men and women.
So that's the
very
real...
good experience, you know? Although a lot of them have been Christian, they haven't inflicted that on me.
So
and a couple of them have been Muslim, and they haven't inflicted that on me.
So
they're very sociable people.
Right, so you've been socialising with these people from a longest of time, right? So it's like,
long time, yeah.
Like myself as well. When it came to Brixton first in the 60s, we had a lot of Africans living in our house, and they were quite nice people. They were, they are. I mean, I must give them that. They're social, very friendly people. Some of them.
Friendly,
yeah. You know what I mean? So I know what you're saying when you've been...
I don't do no slavery while I'm going there.
Okay, there's
don't do no back to this, all that business.
Okay, I thought...
Don't do that.
Okay.
Nothing to do that whatsoever.
Okay.
Another thing I want to say, what the African origin people, the Caribbeans, African Americans, the very, very, very few Africans seem to be into shipping drugs into the West, yeah? Because the Caribbean got the weed and the cocaine from the Caribbean.
That's right.
I know people from Newport, Devon and Brixton have been caught for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people I've known of, not known persons and friends, known friends, but know of.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've met in the past, their friends and friends, sister. Been caught, but men and women, mostly Caribbean and African, have been caught for shipping in drugs into Britain.
Friends of who? Friends of who?
Friends of friends.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They've been caught for shipping in cocaine in rum bottles, mixed with a rum.
Yes.
In pellets in their stomach.
So it's a human thing. So it's a human thing then. It's just a matter of...
Yeah, human thing. Yeah.
So it doesn't have a colour.
No, don't have a colour. No. More Europeans is called for in this country than anyone else.
That's right.
In Ireland, Scotland, and England, the biggest. I'm going to get into. I might elaborate a little bit on it. The biggest cocaine importers in Britain that are indigenous is the Irish.
Yeah. And the Indians.
The Irish,
and the Asians.
Pardon?
And the Asians as well.
No, the cocaine, not the Irish. I'll explain why. I've seen documentaries on the internet and news reels that I've caught my eye come from the BBC, Channel 4, 11 station, and Irish news, Irish radio sometimes, from Dublin and Belfast, etc. and Cork. Anyway, and other Irish stations, they say that I've heard news that when the Irish have been caught about 10 times for shipping in between 200 million and 600 million at a time worth of cocaine by boats when they caught off their coast. That's what they've been caught for. So you can imagine how much they got through with.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, black people, be careful of the Irish. They're very conspiratorial. They will graft you up. They'll set you up. Let me explain why. I'll say that. They done business with Gaddafi, right?
Yeah.
They went to Gaddafi and said to him that they're being persecuted by the British government, and because Gaddafi was into helping liberation groups, he gave them loads of Semtex, loads of arms and finances. Secretly shipped in from Libya to Ireland in the days of the Republican IRA wars and terrorism of this country. That Gaddafi helped them. When it come to it, France, America, and England, and I think Germany wanted to lock down Gaddafi. The Irish IRA told the MI5 everything that they'd done with Gaddafi. Every single shipment they told about, every single bit of Semtex, every single bit of arms, every time they visited him, every time they communicated with him, they told him what the boats were, where they were shipped, how they were shipped, who shipped them, and what part the Libyan government played it. They told them, the IRA told her, what were the British, the French and Americans to set the Gaddafi up when they wanted to set him up. And also, we're saying, Ramadan blood. Yeah. Everyone thought, another thing they've done. They went to do, in the 90s, the IRA were visiting the FARC, the IRA Catholic, the FARC Catholic terrorist group in Colombia, the FARC. They're the biggest cocaine controllers in that region. And there was a military organisation fighting against the Colombian government. And what happened is, the Colombian government wanted to lock them down. So all out of the blue, the Irish IRA, who were Catholic themselves, went to visit the Catholic Mexican FARC terrorist organisation in Colombia to do business with, arms business with. Next minute, a little while after that, the FARC were closed down. So you got what these people will pretend that there's some suffering, liberation this, liberation that, terrorized by the MI5, terrorized by the MI6, being oppressed as a front to get your trust, to get in with you.
Yeah.
And and a little while after that, you find you're closed down.
Yeah.
So you've got to be careful of them. They're not very trustworthy people, IRA people. And what I've seen in London, before I moved out of London, is that the biggest suppliers of the cocaine sent in kilos and ounces are the Irish now.
Yeah, well, you see, the thing about that is, G, every group wants to is jostling for position, and they don't care how they get where they're going to get.
That's right.
So there is a struggle. That, to me, that's just highlighting the human struggle. Humans will do whatever they will do
it takes
to gain ascendancy, brethren. You know what I mean?
And make money, innit?
And make money. So it's the ones who are good at that will excel. You see what I'm saying to you? They have no qualms.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah, they do, because so we're competing with these people. Yeah. And when we start to engage in the same thing that they're doing, you see, we're not as like the mafia, right? And of course they're the same ethnic universe, mafia and the Irish. You can always say that they're one and the same. The Americans,
both Catholic.
That's right, yeah. But then they have the same ideology. So what we understand is we got to get in a position, right, to become competitive too. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or we're going to succumb, or just succumb and just bow down and let those who are willing to do what they do to remain on top of the food chain. You see what I'm saying? They've got no scruples. They've got no scruples. They've got no morals, brethren. You see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
They would sooner sell their granny, right? So that proves one thing. In order to be on top, you have to be ruthless, brethren.
Ruthless.
You see? To me, that's what it's... Yeah. And you're not worrying about your neighbour. You don't give a damn about your neighbour. You see what I mean? You don't give a damn...
What they believe.
Yeah. That's right. And they've turned it...
Any honour. Right.
So they've turned it into a religion. You see? And they're living a life of Riley, brethren. They're living it up, brethren. While we're worrying about morals and not to say that we should become barbarian like them. You see what I'm saying to you? So it's now for an individual to see what they're going to do. Are they going to join the ranks? Are you going to start selling coke in order to make money? And to survive. As far as your people see, it's a survival thing. They need money. Maybe if they
need money.
Maybe
Everyone needs money.
Well, there you go. I mean, really, we don't really need...
That's what I don't like about the reparations. People saying it ain't about money.
Yeah, lie to my tail.
The Japanese got reparations. They're one of the powerful countries in Asia about the Japanese. And like part of the they got reparations. The Jews are very powerful at the moment. Powerful democracy in the Middle East. They got reparations.
Of course.
The American Indians are one of the richest indigenous American groups owning casinos in Las Vegas and parts of big cities in America. They got reparations. So all the brothers got the financial reparations. They're better off than anyone. And then back to Africa and say, no, it's not about reparations. It's more than that. It's
rubbish. Listen.
This is rubbish about knowing where you come from.
You think man an idiot, brethren. Them take man for idiot. You see, I know a very popular group in London, in South London right now that was involved in some drug, and they're liberationists, you know. And they were taking the drugs, the marijuana or weed, whatever you call it, and selling it, and then putting it into the organisation, and the leader of it saying, that's all right, it doesn't matter. They're still talking about liberation, but they were still dealing with the money that they got from the drugs, brethren. And they didn't say nothing about that. You see? So just all this...
Another thing I want to say, two more things I want to say, two things to come off.
Yeah.
One thing, when I was in my very young, about say 12 or 13, I was so clever for my own, too clever for my own good. I told one of my white friends, whose mother left his dad and went to live in South Africa with a white people, went in South Africa with a white man. He said he's going over there to visit his mum. I said, bring me back a bit of gold. He brought me back for nothing. That's how easy it was for him. He brought me back. My schoolmate brought me back about 20 odd ounces of pure gold. Yeah? For nothing. That's how he says it's dirty. He says, as a white person, it's a dirt cheap out there. And bring it back. Yeah? And he brought me it back. Anyway, a mixed race person I know nowadays, he's that guy, yeah, my format was white. Neil Patterson's white dude I was going to school with. But nowadays, the only person I know that is doing business in Africa with gold is a 20-odd-year-old mixed race woman. She goes to Zimbabwe, does mining and processing, gold mining and processing, stays out there for about 4 weeks, and makes every time she goes there £32,000 American.
Yeah.
$32,000 American. Staying there for 4 weeks when she visits Zimbabwe. She come back. She come back. She makes about 16,000 English.
Wow.
I was spending every time she goes to Zimbabwe. 4 weeks. Yeah. I know no black people that are doing that, but she looks white, and the Zimbabwe and letting her do it. Yeah, but G, with you say you know a lot of black people that's doing that. What they do with the money? They don't bring the money back into the community here, do they? No, they don't. That's a madness. They give the money back. But what I'm saying is, instead of these Caribbean people and these African people smuggling drugs, what you should be doing, take G's advice. Go to Congo, go to Zimbabwe, go to Nigeria, go to South Africa, go to Ghana, and make alliances with the indigenous people that can get access to diamonds, rubies, platinum and gold, and talk to them and let them see that you should have the right to smuggle it out of the country. You swallow the diamonds, we paint the gold with nail varnish and make it like artificial jewelry, and bring it back to this country and make your profit money. You should see that you African American people, black people, should see that taking any minerals out of Africa, legally or illegally, is your right. Because every other race, Europeans are doing it every single day. And the European people can still go to Africa, South Africa, go there with nothing, bring back thousands of pounds, tens of thousands of pounds, hundreds of thousands of diamonds, and get let through the customs in South Africa by white people to bring them to this country and and make thousands, hundreds of thousands, but no black people are going to get searched and all, they get searched and citizenship. So instead of smuggling drugs, you African American people, you should be going to Africa and smuggling diamonds, smuggling platinum, smuggling rubies, smuggling emeralds, smuggling sapphires to Europe, where it's worth 1,000 times more. That is the sort of illegal thing you should be doing instead of doing things with drugs. The last thing I want to say, Heru. Did you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you.
The last thing I want to say, I was criticising transgender Oprah Winfrey, transgender Rihanna, transgender Ali Berry, transgender Jada Smith, transgender, what's her name, what's that other things? Where you not? Here I go. What's her name?
What's her name? Yeah, in the Fiji's, isn't it?
Lauren
Hill, yeah.
Lauren Hill. I'm taking all that back now, because them people ain't done no harm again. I'm saying, I'm not criticising them no more, not because I'm promoting them, but I believe in live and let live. So let them do what they're doing, and let me do what I'm doing, let everyone else do what they're doing.
Oh, so you're socialising.
Against them again now.
So you can socialise with them now, can you?
No, I can't socialise them, no. I said, let them live do what they're doing, let me do what I'm doing.
All right. Yeah,
so I'm not going to be criticising them no more.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that, G. Yeah,
and that's all to say, big up everyone.
You respect,
I find the show goes along.
Yeah, man. Enough respect, G. Bless up all the time.
Yeah, big up.
All right. Yeah, man. Yeah, you're on tune to Genesis the radio. I know you're lucky to be the first one in there. You would get a little leverage. I've given you a long time, but because you're the first one in there, see? So now we're going to have to be strict towards time. It won't be so long. Yeah, so that's something very interesting, about some of the liberation groups that are smuggling drugs in the name of liberation as well. So what that says to me is that this term, this liberation are just, some people just use it as a guise, brethren. People are not really interested in those things anymore. I think people are now interested in doing the best they can, making money. They don't want to be saddled with some event 500 years ago. I think people who try to saddle people with that kind of ideology are just taking advantage of the weak and impotent minds among us, that you can come and manipulate them like that. They're selling drugs, right? And they want to... You're live on Genesis.
Oh, hello, Heru. It's me. Yeah, I would agree with what G is saying, but me, with trends and the gender, no, I do not like it. I don't think they deserve any bit of my promotion, any promotion, or the LGBT community. I would use them and then abuse them. That's what I would do. This is what it's about. When you get together with something like a country, how a country uses a country, for example, they would use Russia, but then they would disabuse Russia, and then they would find their own. You understand? So when a country gets the country, you look at politics, how they twist. Are we together? No, they will abuse Russia too, and then they will find their own way. And this is what I'm saying. It is an allied community. Ally. You talk about allies. Someone said in one show, your community should ally with another. But what happens is, if they're good in politics and smart, They would use and then abuse them, and then they would go back to their own community. Now, talk about another thing. Yeah, when, for example, the mafia, the Irish mafia, the Asian mafia, there's an Asian mafia, don't you? There is. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So the Asian mafia, what do they do? When they sell the drugs and this and that, you know what they do? When they get locked up, before they get locked up, they put it to their own community. They leave it somewhere to their own community. And what their own community does, the organization, they deposit it, and then they bring out the money, and then they get their own community gets rich, doesn't it? And then more day centers, more things, Asian people, more organizations. But I heard in one community station now shut down, the presenter said that they do this, but the communities, some communities don't do that. Do you understand what I mean? Especially now with the Turks, the Turkish, they don't do that now. Everyone's for himself. The Turkish community especially, everybody is for themselves. They would do something, but they would not you understand? So every man's for himself in our community. This is my community I'm talking about. Now, as a thing of Colonel Gaddafi, what he tried to do was...
yeah, but hold on a minute, hold on a minute, Bertrack. See, this is what you're saying. One thing I'm quickly running over.
Yeah.
The community. I mean, this is paramount. Every man should be for his own community. Although we're a human group struggling for the resources, the meager resources. So if a community is dumb and not smart enough and wants to just live off handouts, I'm not talking about own businesses and all that. I'm just talking about they're looking for their own community. Every man has to look for his own self, right? Because this is what the self-interest is, what it's all about. This is what the Hobbes and all the theories about social and society is about. The smarter the community is, or the better they exist as a people. They don't go about telling everybody what they're going to be doing. But if you notice the Chinese community, they kept very quiet about what they were doing. And look at them now; they're excelling, and their countries are buying in on people's land. While I reckon our black community has always been negatively influenced about the position they are. They don't want to vote. They don't want to do nothing. These little Back to Africa groups, which are in the minority, they don't want to partake in society that they're living in. Yeah, and they're talking about something 10,000 miles away. Yet for the last 40 odd years, and they haven't gone yet. They're still here. So we've got a problem because they're not going to be orientated to help their community. They're the ones going to try and make our community look very bad. Especially the leaders of these little fringe groups. Their job is to make our existence here in society look very bleak. You understand what I'm saying? That's our problem. We're not competing like the rest of the communities and making living off making use of all the resources. You know what I mean? They are just stuck. They're not going to vote. They're not going to do this. They're not participating in that. They're always negatively influencing and to make sure that we don't move. So it's not really, if you look at the black community, it's not them per se that, the majority of the blacks are actually excelling. You know what I'm saying? The majority, this little fringe group, the little Back to Africa group that seems to are gathering the people and educating them negatively against existence. So what are you living here for then, brethren? I can't understand. If you're not going to compete with the rest of the communities, rest of the cultures, right? And then you're going to be in the way of those of us that are already competitive, brethren, and are doing quite well, thank you. You understand what I'm saying?
let me ask you this question then. I mean, for example, and I was saying this: is there togetherness in your community where one day, will all stations where they disagree and agree? I mean, you might not disagree with some presenters, but is there ever going to be like togetherness where all of you in this community where you would be together and you would march out together like before, like in the 80s when things were tough? Is there going to be ever that togetherness? Or the people, this is not me asking it, this is what the people are asking you, the panel that I'm reading on. Is there going to be ever togetherness in your community? Question one. Secondly, they're asking you, does business help your community or does it not help your community? And the third question they're asking is, does this mean that one person named Colonel Gaddafi got taken out now? There's not going to be no unity for your community, especially people like Michael Jackson and Bill Cosby, who was going to bring unity towards your community and more things for your community. As in, if your community is threatened in this country or if your community's got any issues, they will go to that country and they would help you out. Is there going to be ever that unity where you touch one and you're going to touch another? You understand?
Yeah, I understand. But
so these three questions, can you please answer it for yourself?
Yeah, so
your point.
Okay, let's deal with the first one. What was the first one?
Is there going to be any unity
right
in your community with other? I'm talking about other states getting together, when like in the 80s.
But let me answer that one straight away. You see what it is, the reason why there's no unity in it appears to be no unity when it comes down to direction, especially in terms of our directions where we're going. You have one group that's going back to Africa, brethren. You understand what I'm saying? They're the ones, as far as I'm concerned, that are more or less misorientated. You know why I say that? How come you're living in a society, in a territory, in a community that you are not really 100% with? You see what I'm saying? If your mind is going to be based purely and solely on going back to Africa, brethren, and you haven't gone yet in 40 years you've been here, when you're not really concentrated on the community. So this is why there isn't that unity, because those have some concentrating on outside of the community, yet whenever any community issues appear, they jump on it, brethren. You know what I mean? They're the ones that are telling you this and telling you that, and they're not really orientated for the progress, if you know what I mean. They are the same ones that are kind of would undermine our progress here. You're telling people here mustn't vote, don't bother vote, and negatively influencing us in the system. But white man this, white man that. This is a white man country. This is a Brit. So they keep negatively influencing us, people. Right? Thank God that it's only a minority of them, and it ain't working, because out of the 1.3 million blacks that are here, it's only a little minority, a teeny minority, that thinks in the way in our community. And in any case, only a teeny minority thinking in the way of Back to Africa ones. They're very small. They're not very influential. Only can influence those who've got a weak mind and weak and impotent mind. You see what I'm saying? They're only thinking about reparations, repatriation, black this, black that, and they're in a society and they have to get on with other people. You know what I mean? But then they're not doing it, brethren. They're not doing it.
The second one. Quick question is: will there ever, for example, talk about the African People's Parliament, where there would be addressed different issues, where if anybody has got any problem of any kind, any black person, whether he's disabled, whether he's mildly autistic, whether it could be a non-LD black person, like I'm talking about, whether it can be an everyday black person, whether he or she has got problems, basically, with her daughter, with anybody else. And, I'm not going to go deep into the issue because that's a but I will go one day. But whether it is from another country, they've received threats from their people that they know, whether they would get attacked by another group of people, whether it's in any country, such as Germany, there's a lot of black people in Germany, such as England, there's a lot of black people in England, such as America, when the police shoots a black person, basically, will they be able to say, well, if you touch one of us, we will touch all of you, and whether they would get out and basically by their words, they will defeat and actually put the people responsible to court. It's not just an African People's Parliament issue, but there needs to be organisation groups that can do this. And how are they going to do this without agents being in the community? How are they going to know who is who and who's it, and is there ever going to be together?
Well, put it this way. Right now, we have that already. I always have to go back to the statistics, yeah? How many black people from Caribbean to black English to African that are in society. That is why we do, it's always good to do the census forms. You see what I'm saying to you? Because if you don't complete the census form, when you require information like this, you're not going to be able to do it. So we undermine our own self, brethren. We have these little armchair revolutionaries that ring up radio stations, and looking a little glory, right? Glory hunting, and they can wax lyrical on the problem, but they have no solutions whatsoever. For the last 40 odd years, we've been going this way, but the blacks are already in a position of solving their problem, brethren, because enough of them are up there solving their problems. There's a load of black entrepreneurs that don't come down to the, which I would call the certain side of the black community that because they don't want to be associated with that negative influencing that's going on with the little minority groups, little fringe groups. So when you say if there's ever going to be any unity, there's already unity. It's just these little fringe, little tiny little 2,000 or so out of the 1.3 million. Don't tell me. That's unity, brethren. Out of the 1.3 million, you've got little 2,000 or so, if that, because they couldn't muster 2,000 signatures in a protest in any case, that are negatively influenced against society, just to be on the periphery, just there, ain't doing squat diddly, right?
Well, that's the one question I would ask you. The one says that if this station, there's another station manager, he was about to go to Mugabe's palace. When Mugabe got taken down, and Mugabe really wanted them to go, him to come, and he was saying that this obviously was going to arrange a date where that other station management, who's based in Sierra Leone, was going to go to Mugabe's palace. And basically what had happened was, when Mugabe got taken down now, everything went squat diddly. So I'm trying to say to you is there progress, which is there progress in, even though you might not agree with him, but the man said that he's already talked to Mugabe and that he was going to go to Mugabe's palace. And the other question I would ask you before I go is, this project that they're doing, the Corner Club, is also getting young people into actors, like young
people into where? Africa?
No, actors, young in England, for example. It could be young black men, who's practicing. Like, for example, I hear many different characters, and they're all doing very well. So this project that they're doing now, and I tune in it all week and all day, and I really like it, because what they're trying to do is, look, there's a lot of people out there who qualify university, who finish university, or who just try to qualify to be actor, but they do all the things, but the British film industry is not seem to employ them. So what happens is, now they set up this project, 492 Corner Club, and I hear a lot of there's young white actors, but I hear a lot of young black actors, and they do it so well. The way they do the voicing, the way they play, the way they think, the good guy, the bad, even better than I can. No, what I'm not saying is, I did some acting, but they can do better than I can. They can reverse their lines, they can sing their lines. Basically, me, for example, I would say, I was out on TV 2 days ago on the same TV on a Turkish TV station, and I did it well, but basically I do say because I don't have that talking, and sometimes I do go all over the place by talking. But these young people I hear in the 492 Corner Club on that station, they don't go all over the place. It's like they know their roles. It's like they know how to do it. They know how to play the good guy and the bad guy. I know just how to play the bad guy, but not the good guy. They know how to do that, play the good guy as well as, and they don't bend these things themselves, So what I'm saying is that these people can qualify to be actors instead of being rubbish jobs and this and that. So I think it's a good move that they're doing. What I'm asking you is, the question is, that do you think by putting the 492 Corner Club is a good move that they're trying to do, rather than putting these young people have got no future and they come in and they do their acting and, people would like them and then people would, employ them, theatres and then on.
Right now, they're not getting paid for it, brethren. To be honest, actually. See, this is what I'm saying to you. When you organise, but when you organise, brethren, you've got to organise properly. You can't just organise on a negative. You see what I'm saying? Gravitate around a negative, and just chalk. And yet, who's making the money out of there? You find that group, you have a little corruption in there as well. This is what I'm saying to you about human nature. No matter what you want to say.
No, not at all. I don't agree. Well, because they're doing it. Yeah, they're doing it. But it's not about being paid. At first, they're doing it on a voluntary basis. But when they start to do, don't you think all the people around, there's people that's promoting all this 492 business, and when they start to watch it or listen to it, then they say, all right, then, whoever, for example, this person here, and here, come here to our group, come here to our acting thing, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger.
No, but you see,
no one's really getting paid for
this.
Yeah,
not getting paid voluntary, like I've been volunteering for the last over 30 odd years, giving my money to these little groups. I got to pay my fee when I go on the station. Brethren. I don't go in there for nothing. I got to give them £30 a month. You know what I mean? So if there's 40 of us employed in that organisation, there are 40 people giving somebody £30 a month each. You understand? For let's say for 27 years, brethren. Right? What are you doing with the money? So that's why I'm talking about corruption within these little organisations, brethren, which they're taking advantage of people. They don't really care about the community, brethren, right? And because you've got to ask yourself the question, where is this money that we pay you as presenters, right, for over 27 years, and you don't even have a tent? Somebody's mortgage is being paid, brethren. Is it the disadvantage there? That's why you ask the question, is there going to be any unity? There wouldn't be any unity because some of us knows the rip-offness is going on here with these little fringe group cult-like leaders. You see what I'm saying? That take advantage of people, brethren. You can't tell me that you're an organisation for 27 years, 30 odd years or whatever, and you don't even have any recourse to do any business. We down here in Genesis has been putting money into various things. We've got a TV station coming up, and for a long time, our CEO has been invested back into the community.
Well, then,
see, and these other groups are not orientated, are not community orientated. Really, they're just about taking the money out and sending it elsewhere, brethren, stripping our community of money. Go on.
Before I go, and I will ask this: is this TV station that the CEO's going to think, is it going to basically, you see, they are black, they're obviously black people, but there is like people who's also disabled that is black, and there's people like me that is also, for example, I'm not black, but there's people that have a mild, disabilities that are black and mild autism and this and that. Are they going to be able to come on that station, for example, co-hosting that TV, like Next Gen TV, are they going to come on, and are they going to also, is the manager going to organise something like the 392 Corner Club?
We've got all that in line. I mean, we're going to be a play and all that. We've got all people who can do this.
That's my question.
Yeah, okay.
I'm leaving with that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay?
Yeah, enough respect.
I wanted other calls to come, but I'm not. Remember, again, I'm an outsider.
You're not an outsider. You're a community. Hold on. You're not an outsider. Why do you always class yourself as an outsider? You got a community of people yourself, right? You're Turkish brethren.
Yeah.
And you should be proud of that. You've got your Turkish community too, right? So you can't be an outsider. We're all vying for position here. We're all competing for the resources, or should I say, the meager resources of this community. So you don't keep saying I'm an outsider. You got your problems too in your community, right?
Yes, I do.
Right. Yeah. So we're all in this thing. We're all competing. We're all competitive. So thank you for your interjection. Anyway,
all right.
Respect. All right. You're in tune to Genesis Radio, and it's the People's Talk Show, and you've got Heru as your host. I'm waiting for my co-partner. Co-host, presenter coming in here. I hope so. She may not. But that's all. That is what I'm talking about here. Community. Most little groups are orientated not to take the money out of our community, brethren, stripping us of our money and sending it elsewhere. So what we have to decide and think about is who is for the community and who's not. You understand? But the ones who are not shouldn't be so vocal when it comes down to our community problems, brethren. But they wait on the periphery. This is the way I see it, right? To see whether how they can destabilize any solution, brethren, that we may have to make things look grim here in this. If you're not for this country and you're not for this community, then you can't be a catalyst for our development here, brethren. Stop pretending. This is what happens here. There's a lot of pretenders. They take up our plight. Any community issue, they're quick to jump on it, brethren, even though they're not orientated to our condition here in the community. They're not orientated that way, so they won't be helping our community in any way. They're here to suck the money and suck our every interest out of our community. That is why I feel that our community at the moment is not being very competitive. How can it be? Well, I think it's more competitive than we really like to believe, though. I do really believe that, because as I said, if you look at the statistics, the 130 or 1.3 million, not billion, 1.3 million blacks that are here, which is which is a minority that are competitive and are doing very well. That's right. They're in there with the best of them. You know what I mean? And we have black. You're live on Genesis.
Yeah, right on.
Yes, I knew.
Oh my God.
Wagwan. What's up, bro?
Bro. Heru.
Yes.
You there?
Yeah, man. How you doing?
Brother, you know what? I'm not saying about your production, bro, but listen. I was falling asleep, man.
Really?
I don't know what you was talking about with that brother.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes. Sometimes you got to give credence for other things than just other people got their own opinions. Good to hear everyone.
What is your production? No, what
he was talking about? He was just talking about our communities. He's looking in on the black community, especially since we're the flavor of the day. You see, we act our trauma on the world stage. You see what I'm saying? Since we're the flavor of the day, you have people looking in. So he's giving his opinion, brethren. You see? And it's good to have other people's opinion. I can't have these people.
I don't even know where to...
Yeah, but let me tell you this, right? Let me tell you before you start. I don't like to just have one-sided opinion from these little know-nothing cult-like figures that we've been listening to their opinion for 30 or 40 odd years, brethren. And they can't even produce a bicycle.
Bro, you know what? I don't know. All I'm saying is that Dennis Rowe Because what I'm trying to say is, right, it's all right, you know, you're not, but if you have no choice this is what I'm trying to say. Look, if the people want a piece of bread, right, and they can't buy no bread, what do you want the people to do?
Hold on a minute. What do you mean you can't
have bread? Buy the bread.
Hold on a minute. They got an income. What happened to the income? But you can't buy bread. So what are you doing with the money then, brethren? If I'm giving you £30 a day, if 40 of us giving you £30 a month, brethren, for 27 years, you just still ask where the bread there? What kind of thing is that, brethren?
Oh, yeah, but
we're not into that.
Electricity, you know what I'm saying?
Come on, electricity is they're probably on a meter, brethren. So if you're getting £30 for 40 people, don't tell me you can't afford electric, brethren. For 27 years.
What I'm trying to say is,
yeah. Your mortgage has been paid though.
But what I'm trying to say,
nothing about that though, right? Nothing about that, right? Oh, you see what I'm saying to you?
Well, you see, that's not what. If you want to go, what I'm trying to say, can I speak, please? Yeah, King Heru. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is that, look, you got beautiful queens like Fiona and other people calling it a radio station. The problem is, why can't we link up those queens?
I mean, if the queens wanted to be linked up, they would make themselves available, brethren. There's no guard or bar around them. They have a free will, so they choose who to socialize with. We can't stay here and criticize them. Like sometimes here, it's the same thing with some of these stations, brethren.
But what I'm trying to
criticize
say,
people wearing their weave, ready to tear. I hear some man pull off a man woman and weave and run with it. What kind of sound that, brethren?
You got your co-host, right? She's an intelligent woman, right?
She don't wear weave.
Yeah, but this is what I'm trying to say. Why are you not talking about why we can't link up with the queens?
Yeah, but that's for you to do yourself, brethren. You know, if you want to go courting and find a girl, you have to know what to do, brethren. You can find a woman. We don't have to link you up. Like, what's the matter with you going out and meeting one queen? If you find out where the queens them go, brethren, and when you go there, you do your chirps. You do your chirpsing. Go and chirps them.
Hey, bro, what I'm trying to say is,
have you got any chirping skills, brethren?
Yeah, but you pardon?
Haven't you got any chirping skills where you can, do you know?
What I'm trying to say is, you're putting us off in terms of like you're saying that sisters are not into the African.
I never said that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No, I didn't say they're not interested. When did I say that? I didn't say that. All I'm saying to you is this coat that we tend to wear, this self-righteous cultural coat that some of us try to put on, right, and present themselves as when they're really rogues and vagabond, brethren, masquerading as liberal.
How do you know? Yeah, but how do you know? Can you prove that?
Yes, I can. I can prove that. I have proven it. I've been in many of these organizations, brethren. What are you talking about? For years giving my money. Have you ever give your money to any of these people?
Yeah, but how much would you calculate in terms of...
I do it on a regular basis, brethren. I do it on a regular basis for years, 5, 6, 7 years. You understand?
In terms of school, I can hear that you're angry, bro.
No, I'm not angry. I'm just...
What I'm saying?
No, I'm just as much assertive as they are. See, we can't just give them the platform and the stage for their own, like no one else can, say anything else about it, brethren. You see? It's like an intimidation thing going on. Like if I say anything like I get intimidated by these people, brethren. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
not really. Brethren.
It's only if you let the people. This is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, you can't.
They try it. They do try it. Like they're the only way forward.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, I don't know repeating the same thing as the. Listen, the past. Listen, I went to the church. I said, listen.
Church?
Listen.
Church of the Aspen Church you're talking about? Or what church you talking about?
The normal church.
Oh, but there's a Church of the Diaspora as well, you know.
Yeah, I know that, bro.
Oh.
This is what I'm trying to say. I go to them church as well, bro. But what I'm trying to say, none of them can't fool me. Is it? But what I'm trying to say, though, Heru, is that while at your church, what's the difference between your church?
Well, as I said, you know, when it comes down to the Medunetta, because I mean that's my church. If you want me to have a church, well, that's my church. Medunetta, which is the tree of life, which I go by, brethren. I don't go by the 23rd chapter of any individual's imagination. Just because you got a big trap, you can wind people up. It's what I mean. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those, and we're not one of those. You see, to be no, we're not one of those that you can manipulate, brethren. We're not sheeple.
No.
Yeah, I'm saying not all of us are sheeple, and you can't just come.
But what I'm trying to say, what is your
Well,
what
this
is your
self-realization. All right. Let me show you. Right, I know you got some that are orientated around cultural self, and I'm not really orientated around that. I've done with that already. I've been there.
Hold a second. Can you teach me about my aunt?
See, if you want to know about my art, then come tune to my show, brethren, because I do initiation.
This is what I'm trying to.
I do initiation show.
Brother,
I've been talking for
listen. This is what I'm trying to say, right? I'd rather speak to you, Heru, about my acts. You understand? That's one thing I can say, and that's it. I would, you know, it's not every. I don't believe what you say.
Well,
but what I'm trying to say is that. But what I'm trying to say is that you explore my... Listen, when people come to talk to me about some bullshit, bro, listen.
What's what I'm saying?
Because I'm telling you something.
About my art, you know, as you said, it's not something you can just to take lightly, you know, brethren. And a lot of time I hear people talk about my art, and it's nothing to do with my art. They do what they do. What
I'd rather speak to you. Listen, I can come and speak. Listen, I'd rather speak to you about my art, man. I'd rather put my confidence in you, because you've been banked before those people was even on about that shit.
Yeah,
I heard you bang on about it before it.
You remember?
Most people don't know.
You remember?
Listen,
when my last organisation about 5 years ago.
Before you go to sleep, don't fall asleep now. That's it.
Stay with me now.
Listen, bro. Listen, what I'm trying to say is that you can't come. What are these people coming telling me about? Nuts. It's nonsense. Listen.
You see what it is? They are using ma'at, right, to cover their own ends, brethren. They're just using the term to cover up their own ambitions, right? Because the ma'at that they talk about is nothing to do with what they're talking about. It is a principle. It is a
they're putting the principles like some commandments.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
some wazungu thing.
Physical commandment. Yeah, this or admonition. You know, a law. You know what I mean? It's not a law. It's not a commandment, brethren. Ma'at is like a polygon. It's worked out scientifically, brethren. You know what I'm saying? It's science. I'm not even talking about no commandment. You got to, and the reason why you would give yourself the negative confessions at the end of the day is to see whether you've lived the life. You're honest with yourself, brethren, and that's lacking in a lot of the community.
Yeah.
Self-honesty. They're not honest with themselves, brethren. They lie. My God, if you know how much lie.
No, he can't. No.
Tense. You know what I mean?
No, they can't prove it. You can't prove it.
I can prove it, but I'm not going to know. I can prove it, brethren.
No, you can't prove it.
The minute I do that, people are going to say, oh, Heru this, Heru that. So I'm just keep it to myself and cover up. This is what they use to cover. They know that the sheep,
but what I'm saying is,
sheep will cover up for them. They know the sheep will protect them. They know.
Yeah,
so they can get away with murder, brethren. They get away with murder, innit? Blue murder in your face.
But what I'm saying is, though, King, is that your person, your CEO, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
You have to fix up, bro.
Yeah, a lot of us have to fix up. A lot of us got to fix up. At least the CEO don't pretend he's something that he's not, though. To be honest with you, at least he's honest with himself, and you know what to expect from our CEO. Our CEO probably he's not he hasn't got the prettiest of languages. As you know,
sometimes I want to.
Yeah, but at least but at least you know where you are with him. These ones that smile and talk about Ashay and all this kind of thing, and voodoo and all them kind of stuff, and then they got the biggest knife, brethren, dripping with the blood of somebody just stuck.
God,
dripping with the blood of somebody just stuck in the back, brethren.
Nah,
Ashay.
Why are you so? Yeah, but.
No, I'm telling you, as it is.
Why are you so bitter, bro?
But why is it bitter? When they say that they can talk and then they're afraid to talk. So if they're not afraid to talk, well, they must not be afraid to hear too. You see what I'm saying to you? They're not afraid to talk. So it works both ways. You can't have one people dictating this thing, brethren. They're talking. I'm not. I'm not afraid to say this. Well, I'm not afraid to say this neither, brethren.
But, bro, I'm just sitting. I'm just open to air all discussion. I'm
right.
like in the middle.
That's
you know what I mean?
But it's you for choose because you're the.
But what I'm trying to say is here. What I'm trying to say is here.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say. This is what I'm trying to say. The sisters are hearing all this crap. And they're like thinking, let me just go for the white man.
No, but hear what?
It's like you lot are just
no, it's not us. It's a minority. A little tiny, not even 2,000 out of the 1.3 million blacks. It's only a little tiny minority talking about this, what they talk about. The rest are getting on with it, brethren.
Yeah, but hold on.
And they've been very successful as well.
Okay. Okay, then if you're talking about that now, right, in terms of the capital, see, this is what I'm trying to say. From what you're saying is that we need to change up the capitalistic environment. We often speak about we are 1%, but we are got a very powerful expenditure in terms of. So what you're saying is that. You just said the majority of people are they are actually what's the word they are infiltrated by the there's another word,
infiltrated by who?
The Starship Enterprise, right? They got the Borg people. They just come and just manipulate people.
Come on, man. Listen. Let me tell you something. I'm tired of this scaremongering thing going on all the time.
Hold a second. What are you saying then? What are you saying?
Infiltrated by who? If you understood society, you wouldn't even look at it.
Hold on a second.
No, you know what I'm saying to you? If you come to that conclusion that we're under attack, and you're going to scramble your hypothalamus, right? Because you've already made these suggestions to your brain, you understand? Which is going to do one or two things. It's going to either prepare to fight or flee, brethren. So the more we say we've been infiltrated, I'm tired of this historical African diasporan view, brethren. We're not all of that view, Come on, man.
Yeah, but what is your suggestion? What is your suggestion?
Well, my suggestion is this: if I need to have one, if you're in a society, you must know the rules. You must know the game. You must know how to play the game. And nothing that you can do is going to change the system. As a young man, I used to say, I can beat the system. You know what the older man said to me? Yeah, idiot. He said, you could have waste your. Do you know how many of us had tried to change entrenched? I wasn't clued up about the system, brethren. I thought I could change it.
Yeah, but bro,
instead of being clued up,
you're elder to me. You're elder. You're elder. So can you advise, bro?
If I'm going to tell anyone anything, then I would advise them get clued up on the system, brethren. Don't be negative against it, because then you will have been able to act. How many times have these little fringe groups with their little cult leaders had negatively influenced us that we don't even want to vote, brethren? You know what I mean? We don't want to do nothing. You see what I'm saying to you? We on the periphery going, no.
Calm down, bro. Calm down, bro.
Tell it as it is,
brethren. Listen.
Yeah, but come
on, man. Let's go and fight the people.
Hold on. You like to hear it as it is. Anyway, that's what it said. They're afraid for talk. Well, we're not afraid for talk, brethren. You understand what I'm saying to you? So let's talk. Let's go the whole hog. Don't let them just talk and you can't talk. It don't work that way, brethren. they're not going to dictate this thing with their own personal angst, what they got, brethren. What I'm saying to you is this, yeah, that if you are wise, if you're in a system, right, and everyone, you find yourself amongst other groups, you see what I'm saying to you? You then would have to be competitive like those other groups, smart like they are, brethren. You know what I mean? We wear our lives on because we've been so negative.
Are you saying they train us to be docile?
They don't train. No,
to lie down.
Who train us? Who?
Well, the people that you're talking about, the people that influence us.
Yeah, exactly. They train us to be what? Only a small minority, though. They can't reach the majority, the 1.3 million. They only got little fringe groups that they influence, brethren. Show how weak and impotent they really are.
Yeah, but the 1.3 million was X factor. They're not really interested. They're like,
who said not interested?
Oh,
they're getting on in life.
They're not interested until they kill their youth and the policeman said, "Oh, you're a black bastard." Yeah, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, but at the end of the day,
as far as I can say, they did.
But at the end of the day, right, if you pardon your language, your French, it's Sunday, we've got to keep mindful that the youths are listening.
No.
Respectively, brethren.
It's true.
All I'm
they
saying
don't give a shit.
Yeah, but still, we got, this is why I say we don't have any wisdom. I know that word might be all right for people to use, but we've got to be mindful of these things, brethren. We don't have any
common language.
This is what I'm saying. We don't have any tact or wisdom when we're dealing with things, brethren. We're just blunt. You know why? You got some blunt-minded leaders who tell us to be blunt, right, without any strategy. This is why we can't. Well, this is why that little fringe group ain't getting anywhere. But I don't look at them for examples. I look at the majority of the blacks that are getting on, brethren, with it. I don't want to be sidelined and marginalised by the little fringe group with the traumatized ideology, brethren.
They're just adding to the infiltrate. They're like the Borg.
Who says
the Borg of Star Trek.
Yeah, but who says that? I mean, that's an opinion which I find.
Everybody, on a second, right? So we are marched. So you are marched. When you see a march down to those people that appreciate the war and said our dead has killed. Look, this is the people, and you have the Queen, and you have some Commonwealth people to say march. Hold on a second. Did you? Yeah, marching. Yeah. No. Why didn't you march for them?
Let me tell you something. Yeah, but let me tell
you. Listen. Go down. Listen. Go down Britannia. Go down there. Go down the road, Victoria, and see Winston Churchill proud with some big statues.
Yes.
Are you telling me that these people don't remember they're dead? It's nuts. It's crazy. Yeah, but you're telling me no. No. You can't tell us we don't remember our ancestors. Who? If it wasn't for our ancestors, yeah, they would not be even in this country.
I heard this talk so much time before, bredre. It's just like a broken record about ancestors.
Listen, you've been speaking German.
No, but hear what I'm saying to you. Yeah, so what? What's the difference between... How do I know that I will be better off speaking German than them, and then I'm speaking English now, bredre?
You know what? You'd probably be better off, you know.
Huh?
At least a German... You'd probably be better off speaking German.
So listen, we're not running the world at the moment. We're not. Black people used to run the world, brethren. Now our day in the sun has gone. Every dog has its day in the sun. Now it's the Caucasoid that's running things, brethren. And we've got to deal with it. Every dog has its day in the sun. We're not going to be ruling forever. It's not a big thing. Come on, if you know the thing, you say that we're Africans.
Thousands of years of resistance.
Doesn't matter. We wait our time. We've got to wait our time, bide our time, and in the meantime,
it's not sustainable.
Yeah, it is, because if we say that we're the first on the planet, right? I mean, we're the first to do everything. We're born with a halo around our head. We're pristine and clean and holy and whatever, right? We should then know that if these amateurs that are running the world, right, can't handle a thing, we should be there to take over from them. Give them a run. Yeah, I'll go and take it. You know, big thing to rule, brethren. Alexander the Great did what he had to do. Even Genghis Khan and all them thing coming down from Imhotep, our time when we run things, we rule the Mediterranean. We conquered the barbarian first. We were the first to enslave them, brethren. You forget about that? Yeah? You never hear white man say
Are you saying that we are taking our own You're saying it's coming back to us.
No, well, I'm not saying you judge that for yourself because what you reap, what you sow.
No, because
what you sow, what you
them.
sow, you must inevitably reap. Things don't happen to people for nothing, brethren. Yet none of you can explain why you were enslaved if you were so righteous and holy. Explain that then, brethren. Explain it.
Well, what I'm trying to say is there's thousands of years of you cannot really take that much oppression. Right? You know what I mean? It's like we can defend it as much. You understand? But what I'm trying to say is, though, bro, it's like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but we can still resist.
Listen,
we can still resist.
We conquered the Mediterranean. We conquered Europeans first. Not even during that time of the Ptolemies, way back into the sarcophaguses.
That's old, bro.
Yes, you can see right back then where we had every race that was represented in the fresco on the walls. They were represented about 4 races, and at the last rung was the white man. There was the Semite, and then there was the Nubian.
You're talking about Cleopatra, man.
No, I'm not talking about Cleopatra. Listen, a lot of people ruled Egypt, brethren. It wasn't only just black people. If you know the thing, right? We had people simultaneously on the throne in Lower Egypt, which was near North Africa, where the Caucasoids came in, and then they were which raped the black woman and produced the mulatto brethren, and then the mulatto began to rule through the they let their father, the white man, in, brethren, and they pushed the blacks up into the Upper Egypt. Right? Because we said we ain't going to live with no barbarian. We talk about the first racism, brethren. Gone, brethren. So they left the women then who refused to move, who became the concubine of these invaders, brethren. And they had children with them. And that legitimized the throne. So they put their mulatto child on the throne. Right?
What I'm saying is, what about Nama and the Scorpion King? What I'm trying to say is, you're talking about Cleopatra and all them things. You ended our civilization. We're talking about the beginning.
Yeah, but see, from the beginning, we always ruled a multicultural society, brethren. We always ruled one, because Africa was always a place that was invaded, just as like Europe, England is a place where we had a lot of invasion. Human beings, you cannot keep human beings away from things like food, land, and land mass. You can't.
Yeah. But
it's a human thing, brethren. It's not a black thing.
This is what I'm trying to. But the psychological problem is that now I can go to my sister and say, "You don't want a black man. You want a white man. You want that."
Kind of stupid talk. You know what I mean? We're done with them kind of baby stupid talk kind of thing. We don't see. You see the thing about with us, some of these little entrenched, and I'm glad it's only a minority. It's not a majority. It's the minority, the weak and impotent minds, right? That can only take in culture, take in tradition. That's about all they can take in, brethren.
Yeah, but have you been to Africa?
Oh, you're a bloody guy. I hate that question as well. I can't stand them and ask me that, no, brethren. First thing I say,
no.
Do you know what a yam hill is? What I got to do with it?
You never been to Africa?
They can't use that on me, brethren. What are you talking about? I don't have to go nowhere if I don't want to go.
Listen.
You understand what I'm saying? Doesn't mean anything if I go to Africa. Just because you go to Africa for a couple of weeks, does it make you an expert on Africa? Huh? Does it make you an expert in Africa because you go for a couple of months? Then that means when I come back now, because I've been for a couple of months, I can say, I know everything about Africa now. They're kind of stupid idea. That's kind of just like, it's really just insultive, you know what I mean? The man come and ask me that. So what's that got to do with
it? But Heru, let me just free up the line, little guys. Big up the chest. Big up the chest.
What do you mean, man? You think
big up the chest, brethren.
You think this thing a joke thing, this?
Yeah, it's not joke, bro.
It's not joke. I've studied these things. I don't let any cult leader influence me, brethren. Bare their backside for man to kiss it. I don't do that. I don't kiss ass, brethren. So, but at the end of the day, I know where I am in the scheme of things. I'm properly orientated. You see, I ain't got no fear of any white man. Like some people say, oh, the white man can change the weather. You see, the white man clever, He makes you think he can do more than what he can. You see what I mean? Because you're already exhibiting that.
Listen, bro.
You understand what I'm saying?
I have to face these people, right? And listen, I can't even get to the. Listen, the gatekeepers, right, are our people, especially the sisters, man. I'm telling you, the gatekeepers, you can't even get to them before you're even involved.
Well, it's the same thing with the liberation. You can't get to those little know-nothing personalities, these bloody sheeple that surround them and protect them. They can. I mean, look at it this way. If I'm a leader and I'm telling you, I'm making the most noise, brethren. Oh yes, this come with your drum, come with your this. I'm making the most noise, brethren. And when it comes to the crunch, I hightailing it away because I don't want to go to jail. That don't make it answer.
No, but you can't. You
can't what?
No,
I mean it can't what? But they can.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. You know,
well, I don't care if you don't agree with it, brethren. I don't know what it is. Too much protection around these people, brethren. Too much sheeple that are protecting these people. You know what I'm saying to you? Say what? It's all right for them to say that they can say what they want to say, but no one else can touch them. The kid, get out. Listen, man. It doesn't matter if you agree or not. It does not matter. It don't matter if you agree or not. You're entitled to your opinion. What we say about opinions.
The thing is, I've seen certain.
I'm not.
Listen, what I'm trying to say is, I've seen certain. Listen, what I see is action.
Action.
I've seen even certain man would argue. I've seen man. Let me mention the youth and Brother Paul. Yeah. I've seen them at the Black Father thing now, right? They argue up and see them. Listen, what I see. What I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, the man turn up. No, you understand?
Yeah, so turn up to what? Those kind of fringe meetings, little fringe group. What that meaningless meet? No, I'm not disrespecting the fathers group, but you say. I mean, of course, it helps the community. It's what I like about the fathers group. I must admit, I do like the fathers group because they tend to, if any man got a problem, they can go and talk to the fathers group, and you know what I mean, and can reason it out. I wouldn't go there to contradict them, brethren. So what am I going into contradiction for? And I've got nothing.
What I'm trying to say is, that's a different aspect.
No, but
I mean, because I don't really feel that the man. No. What I'm trying to say is though. Right. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. You understand? What I'm saying is, I wouldn't come to Genesis, right? I said, you're mad. You're a madman.
Well, I wouldn't go to the fathers group and argue with them, brethren.
Well, these people are nuts, man.
Huh? I wouldn't do that.
These people are crazy.
They're doing
these people are madman, brethren.
They're doing a good job. Something that I myself ain't doing. You know what I mean? So why would I want to go and disrupt?
Well, I've seen it. I've seen it. So I'm like, what?
It's out of order, though. This is what I'm saying about us orientated. We're wrongly orientated because we've been listening to one group for 26 years and they can't produce not even a bicycle, brethren. After 27 years. Come on.
But I do know that because they might not produce it on radio. They might not tell you that, but they might have like kingdom.
Where?
They might have a kingdom in Africa. They've got a kingdom.
What's it doing over there? Why don't we have a kingdom here, brethren? Why do I have to go over there to have a kingdom? The African Union is worth 100.
Yeah, but what about Shashamani in Africa? You got Russell Singh.
Yeah, Russell Singh. I hear all the time. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not that person to go a bundle on things like that. End of the day.
Yeah, but you got a land in Shashamani.
Who have a land in Shashamani?
African people. I've heard the
how long
the Ethiopian.
Yeah, how long has that land been given to them, brethren?
So what are you saying? What I said, we should dismiss that.
No, Miss say, how long has this land been given to these people? How long have they had this land now? Shouldn't there be hotels on there now? And what about Metropolis, thieving Metropolis? What are they growing on there? Weed, ganja. No wonder why Zimbabwe president said he doesn't want them over because all them doing is smoke weed, brethren. So
listen, how you know that?
That's what Zimbabwe said. That's what the President Mugabe said about Jamaica. About these things. They don't want any growing of any marijuana over there. But then that's his choice. But I don't pretend, brethren. I'm not into this. That's why I said it doesn't bother me. Those things don't bother me really. I'm not orientated around those.
But what I'm trying to say though, Heru, is that look, we're all old now. We're gonna, we need to. How are we gonna pass these things on to the youths?
I certainly ain't gonna pass that. What's going on then to my youth? You're joking, man. I ain't gonna pass that on to them, brethren. What I pass on to them is, listen, you gotta be smart. Yeah, you gotta work the system, brethren. You play fool to catch wise. That's what I'm gonna tell my children, brethren. Don't be a stick in the mud about black and African business. Make the man put spot you out and do your. Look, we haven't moved very far. I don't think we're gonna move any further in the next 50 years, brethren. Me and you will be long gone by then.
No,
me and you will be long gone. We'll be pushing up daisies by then, brethren. So
listen, I do my own thing, sis. I do my own thinking.
Well, I don't know.
Seriously, I just rise with people that I do my own people that go on.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. We got to be clever in this system. If you have an intention of living here, if you haven't, all well and good, fine. You can leave at any time. No one's tying you down here, brethren. All right, and we're talking about going back to Africa. You haven't gone yet? Have they gone yet? It's been 30 odd years, but they haven't gone anywhere, brethren. What, are they afraid? Why are you still here? No, but why don't? No. They should be talking from over there so we can see a classical example, brethren. Show us, and don't just stay here and causing a kerfuffle, brethren. Upsetting the apple cart, making it look awkward for us to live here. Everything they bun everything we do here. So any hope of any progress in the community will be dashed, brethren, because they undermine it. I talk against it. Rubbish voting. So they make a thieving politician there, and ready to tear, on and on.
But what I'm saying though, Heru, you can't talk. Where's your provision? Where are they going to go to the shop? The sister.
What do you mean?
Where are they going to go to the shop?
Ask the 1.3 million blacks where they're shopping. I mean, on average, we spend. On average, we leverage 300 billion spending money, and if they, so we need the skills to divert.
To divert down in Brixton called the Out of Eden. Have some nice food, some vegan. It's expensive though.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. The food, if you want to live good, I mean, according to them, you've got to pay for your nose, brethren. And if we go to most shops, and if we go to most West Indian shops, right, you're going to buy a little dinner. £7 for dinner, brethren. £7-8. And if you go to the Kentucky shop, you get £2.30 for dinner, brethren. And you get £7 for dinner, brethren. Come on. We want to get rich quick. No, but that's what it is. No, it's true.
You're a joker, bro.
No, since they want to talk truth, and they said they're not afraid for talk, let us talk then.
Hey, Bridgie, I'm going to let my man with a bird check come through.
Nice one. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Pure jokes, bro.
Yeah, man. Enough respect. You're free to call back anytime. Right, yeah. Enough respect. Thank you very much for that. But it's true. Let's go the whole hog on this. Let's not go half the hog on this. We are being led to, we are being following, if you've been following someone for the last 30 odd years and you have not arrived yet, when are you going to arrive, brethren? You won't even be here. By the looks of things, in the next 50 odd years, if we're going to be properly orientating ourselves, of course, as a community, a competitive community in the community, and I'm telling you that the 1.3 million blacks are doing very well, brethren. There's little fringe groups that want you to think that no, it's not. Oh, it's something else. Because they need to make a living, an unearned, undeserved living. They eat up everybody else's value, right? And then so that they can earn an undeserved wages out of us, brethren. You know what I mean? So how come you can't muster or leverage or divert, if you want to divert the £300 million spending money? It's been spent where it is. People, a lot of black folks, we're not the worst. We are kind of at the bottom according to the statistics, and the Bangladeshi is worse than us. So we are not the worst. And then but it's this thinking that they like to have us thinking. So we follow their mind. That's a danger, brethren. We're not looking at the reality of the situation and say, well, how can we compete competitively? You know, and then and if you have a black mayor or black member of parliament, straight away we shoot them down. See, Mr. Man over there, you just, you know what I mean, ready to. You're live on Genesis.
Yeah, I would just bounce off of something the last caller just said. I think you held them on way too long.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say was, they say in America, so like 60% of black women are single. Yeah? They say in this country, a lot of black women are single in this country. The black men, except the ones that come over here with their husbands from the continent or from the Caribbean. The ones born here, a lot of them are single. Even the young ones are single. For the one that go with much older men, the young ones in this country. The young black, you don't seem to gravitate to them. So you go with the other races like Caucasian, Asian, etc., etc. Yeah? Now, why is there not any black radio stations having dating shows to get black young men, adult young men, to go with black women, and get black middle-aged men to go with black women? Why? If they're so concerned about our community, yeah, like all these people claim to be, because every time I talk with Galaxy about black male and female relationships, they always say, oh, the black men only like the way the women look. The black men this, the black men that. The black men call a woman call a woman this and call a woman that in a sexist way. Yeah? That's what even Galaxy was making the women's emojis and the men commenting on black man and female relationships to make them more divisive than they already are. They're saying that positive. They're saying that harmonious. They're saying nothing that is going to make them attract one another. Because I see loads of black single mothers in the lockdown with their kids in their house. They're going to pick up the phone, find out the stats of a man, find two people that like certain things, his music they like, or his back to Africa they like you won't go for one like that. But
yeah.
or whether it's going to eating out, going to cinemas, staying at home, cooking food, watching TV, watching videos, reading, going to concerts, going to dances, going on holidays, tons of sex, or going to the beach, or going to museums, or whatever they're like drinking and smoking, whatever their commonalities are, they can link up based on that.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and I don't understand, with such uproar in our black men and black women, or don't say black men and black women, relationships in general. Not only black men and black women, just relationships. Men meeting women.
But you know what?
From black stations.
G, hold on. You know the first.
Yeah, go on.
You know what is the first stumbling block in that? We judge our women.
What's that?
We judge the women then. That's why we got this kind of a weird kind of relationships going on. First thing we judge them.
Again.
Listen, the first thing, one of the stumbling blocks in our way for a fruitful relationship is that we judge our women straight away. If they're wearing weave, or not everyone. There's a small minority of us that tends to judge our women by how they present themselves. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Well, not every man does that. Every race does that.
No, they don't.
Every race does that.
Hang on.
So what should they do?
No, hold on a minute. When you was going back in the day, right? When we went dancing.
Well, back in the day,
listen, hold on a minute.
Back in the day.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about back in the day when we were having relationship before, weren't we? And we never we didn't judge a woman by what she wore, brethren. We go to a party, anyway she looks, she dressed fine, because we know it's a dress-up thing. But now they've taken that and put it into a kind of a category now. If you wear weave, I have to do this red tear. So it's become judgmental now. That's why there's no relationship there. Because sometimes we want...
Well, let me stop you there. If a man likes a woman that wears weave on the sort of show I'm talking about, let him go, let them link up like that, link up. If a man doesn't like a woman that wears a weave, wears weave, let them two link up. Let the man that doesn't like a woman that wears weave, and the one that doesn't like weave, let them link up. What's the issue?
That's right, but they don't do that now. But they're judging and they're calling them names and they're slandering them on the air and they're telling them,
not all of them are doing that. No, not all of them are doing that.
Yes.
I don't understand why when it comes to relationships with black, I feel sorry for you black men, you know, right listening. Why when it comes to a black man have a relationship, he said no compliments about the black man and his attitude to looking for a female.
Right,
why does that have a critical analysis?
That's only
negative thing. What about the positive thing?
That's right, but that's only you're right, but that's only, as I say, a minority view. It's not the majority of the 1.3 blacks here, brethren. Because if you are looking at race mixing and you're making an issue out of it, where you say, oh, the black man around on the white man, them, you're kind of a back-a-wall caveman talk, brethren. And that sort of the negativity that tends to fill the minds of some people who maybe...
That's what I said.
Innocent.
On sort of show I'm talking about, I'm more thinking about the black man.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about on the black woman, that's what I'm thinking about. But if a black woman wants to go with a man of a different race on the sort of show I'm talking about, let her do it.
Yeah,
if a black man wants to go with a woman of a different race, let him do it. If a black man wants to go with a black woman, let him do it. If a black woman wants to go with a black, let them do it.
That's right.
I do think that on these black, like Genesis, for example, and Galaxy and those other black radio stations, I do think there needs to be some love, some socialising, some reality of having relationship shows. The only one I've been able to do that is Lawyer on Flames Radio about, say, 4 or 5 years ago. He done it. It went very successful. No problems. Couples phoned up. Man would speak to a woman on air, and the woman says, "Oh, she's game." The man said he's game. They say a couple of words to another. They change numbers. Go what and go and do what they're doing. No problems. No one got into trouble. No one got hurt. No one got harmed. No one got seriously disappointed. Some of them would link up and say they had a good time. Some of them link up, they didn't get on. They both calmly and civilized in separate ways. So I'm saying that what my emphasis is that I don't like when it comes to black people, especially the poor men, having relationships or attaining relationships. There's always a negative. I've only said I'm going to a man or woman. Always got a negative thing to say about black relationships.
That's right.
When it comes to the man, them. Always some quick, he could be dangerous. He could do this. Oh, he's just sexist. I just like the look of her. If you're a man, a black man, you like the look of a woman, go for a woman you like the look of.
Simple.
If you're a black man, you like a woman who's a mind, go for a woman whose mind you like. If you're a black woman or like a black man who likes a woman with weave, go for the woman with weave. If you're a black man who don't like a woman with weave, go for a woman that doesn't have weave. If you're a black man who likes a woman with locks, go for the woman that has locks.
That's right, but
is that abnormal or wrong about them things?
You see, the thing is, G, they forget about humanity. They've bring everything down to a finite, specific humanity, not humanity in general. We're humans in general. We were humans before we're anything, brethren. We're humans before we're African. We're humans before we're Indian. We're human before we're Chinese. And I thought the black... I thought the black people who claim that they're the first on the planet should already know this, brethren. And they should be the first for harmony, not for fragmentation and separate. Since you're the first, then, because you say you're the first human on the planet, then surely, if you're the first to emerge from barbarism, then you would really recognize that we have to have a harmonious whole, which consists of everybody, because the Supreme Being has multiplied itself into myriads.
Very true.
So if you don't like a manifestation of the Supreme Being, that's your problem, brethren. But we have transcended that now to see it's the one being having multiple of experiences, brethren. You understand what I'm saying? And we as black people who can be the first should be the first to be a harmonious element, not a fragmented, separative, racist, brethren, element.
Yeah, racist, that's right. Yeah, no
you
good,
understand?
no good.
Black colour.
No good.
The thing about it is, what they complain about the colour issue. And they're the first to say, black only this, black that. But you know what I mean? I don't understand that. You complain about being negative towards your colour, and yet you're the first to judge people by their colour. The abuse has become...
Hypocrisy.
Yeah, the abuse has become the abuser, brethren.
Yeah, that's right.
You see?
That's
it's true.
But what I'm saying, I think us black people have got to stop making the black man out to be some sexist, misogynistic, sex beast fiend, and let us face the reality of the situation and stop thinking that black women are all xenophobic and racist and can't be versatile.
Okay.
Let's start having some relationship shows where black men can meet women, black women can meet men of any type they want.
That's right.
Yes.
And
create some love, some harmony, some acceptance of what people like they're allowed to have without being judged.
Exactly.
And take away this stigma and this negative profile that there's something wrong with a black man wanting to date a woman.
That's right.
Because that is what it seems we're adopting all this Caucasian, lesbian, feminist perspective on men, European perspective on men, that makes every man out to be some sex beast, some misogynistic, chauvinistic. If a man wants to meet a woman, there's something wrong with him. And like some negative association with men, especially black men. I think that stigma needs to be wiped away, and we should start having as many dating shows linking up.
Everybody.
With the war we've got against the LGBT community. It seems to be right to forward the LGBT agenda, where the LGBT man is allowed to marry a man, the LGBT woman is allowed to marry a woman, LGBT lesbian couples are allowed to adopt children, LGBT man and man relationships are allowed to adopt children. What about the heterosexual man moving forward and getting more props?
That's
and
right.
Getting more availability thing.
Yeah.
Like, I think, seeing there is, for the heterosexual man, and there's shortage of women, and for the heterosexual woman, there's shortage of men, because the LGBT people, I think men should be allowed to have polygamy, more than one wife. And also, I think it should be brought into new acceptance and progression that men should be able to cohabit with two women, whether they're married or not.
Yeah.
I don't think polygamy necessarily needs to be under the guise of marriage. I think polygamy can be two women or more that accept living with a man under an agreement basis. Because there's more, and the reason why I justify that is that it should be a step forward for the heterosexual man to be allowed more options, because of the LGBT people getting more options, and also because there's a shortage of women for heterosexual men because of the LGBT community, whereas the lesbians are taking a lot of the women away from the LGBT, from the heterosexual man, and a lot of women are turning into men. Another step of another way less females are available heterosexual men.
All right, G.
So I think that, us heterosexual men do deserve new or more opportunities in the dynamics of relationships.
Exactly.
We deserve more. That's all to say, Heru.
Yeah, man. Respect all the time, G. Bless up.
Yeah, big up, man. Big up, man. Big up, bro.
Yeah, respect all the time. Yeah, that was G there with a well thought out idea there concerning everybody. Thing about it is, we who claim that we're the first on the planet should be the first to want to live in harmony with other people on the planet. We've always been living with other people on the planet. In actual fact, we are other people on the planet. We were the one that morphed into other races, brethren. So if you hate another man from another race, you hate yourself. Because there is no other race, brethren, but one race, the human race. And if we, as they claim we say we are, instead of negatively influencing us, we only we. What kind of negative influence that is, brethren? And those are who fall for that. And yet turn around and talk about African spirituality. The African spirituality tells you, if you're really talking about African spirituality, you think you know, according to the Tree of Life, brethren, the Medunetta Tree of Life, it tells you that on the first sphere, let's see how African you really are, or how spiritual you really are. You're not really spiritual. You don't use that, draw that in when you have nothing else to draw in. Because after you've done negatively influence against other people, how can you then talk about African spirituality when the Tree of Life says on the first sphere of the Tree of Life, it is about unity of all men. The first sphere of the Tree of Life is User. User is the first sphere of the Tree of Life, which is the unity of all men. And you violate the law, because it's by the laws, 11 laws, that we can know how this thing runs. How the invisible world impact upon the visible world, brethren, through the laws. The law, the first sphere of the law of User is that the unity of all, not some. You understand? So when you're talking about African spirituality, you know squat diddly about African spirituality. You can't just, in the one breath, speak about fragmentation and separation and then turn around the other breath and talk about African spirituality, brethren, when we know African spirituality is about the unity of all men and women. This is what I'm talking about, the little, which is why that the little fringe groups are in the minority. And they will always remain in the minority. The 1.3 million blacks in this know how to do their thing, brethren, because they're not even bothered about these little fringe groups. They don't even pay them the mind. You see? Just like the African Union don't pay the historical African diaspora any mind. Because they're traumatized, brethren. They're troubled. On 2,000 of them, or a small minority of them, the Afrocom, the ones in America are the biggest mouth, man. Jesus Christ. I tell you, the ones in America, there's something else to be desired of, man. These little diaspora and historical Americans, they're boo. Especially the ones also over here in the UK, those little traumatized ideas, brethren, that the sheeple, you have to call them sheeple, because they don't make any demands from their leaders. You understand? And they don't expect their leaders to be righteous, brethren. They don't expect that. The leaders they have no penchant to be righteous, brethren, because they know that the sheeple are sleeping. They're walking dead, brethren. So therefore, they can in one breath say something and in another breath say something else, and the sheeple won't notice. They can slither their way back into the limelight after. What a shambles, brethren! I expect people to fall on their swords because they've got it wrong, but the sheeple will not allow them to be judged for their wrongness, brethren, because they power them and pamper them, wrap them up into bubble wrap, brethren, for some unknown reason. I don't know, but I'm glad it's only the minority. Let me read some texts here. Where are we now? Text sender says, text sender said, I've been analysing Brother Paul for so long now, and I've come to the conclusion that shouting is all the one big act. He's when you talk about other people, you must give them a chance to defend themselves. I'll leave that little bit out. Him and that input and that that tin pot station full of Worthless bobos. Dreads haven't a clue to move our people forward. Haha, Heru, you're funny. I wish I could have read all of that, but I think it would be unfair for me to really read that out, you know what I mean? And I don't want them to think it's a bashing thing. Although they can bash other people still, you know, them bash Christians, they're tired. You know, if you were really looking to hear something constructive, you don't want to hear people bashing Christians, brethren. You know what I mean? And it's like a disease for some people to bash Christians, to bash. But the thing about it, you have some people who bash Christians and bash Muslims as well, don't bash things like Rastafarian. So if you can bash Christianity, you sure you can bash Rastafarian? What's the difference between Christianity and Rastafarian, brethren? There's no difference. There's no difference. Because the Rastafarian still believes that Jesus Christ died on a cross, brethren. Well, don't know if they believe that Selassie is dead or alive. That's not even an argument. I ain't going to spend my life worrying about Selassie, whether he's dead or alive, brethren. Like I'm not going to spend my life worrying about if Jesus Christ is still alive, sitting at the right hand of God. I ain't got time to be contemplating these things, brethren. I have a choice. I have a free will. And that certainly ain't going to be a part of my free will to sit down and contemplate these things, brethren, when I've got bigger fish to fry than that. Neither am I'm going to contemplate me being black or African, brethren, when my true nature is of a different substance. You said that you're African spiritualist. How can you still call yourself black and African? If you say that you are dealing with African spirituality and you're still referring to your earthbound personality, brethren, don't tell me that you don't really know anything about African spirituality. If you did, we talk about our true self. We know that our self is indivisible, imperceptible. That's why it represents, that's why Amen represented with naught. And which means the hidden, brethren. You want to know these things? Do you want to know these things or what? I'll make it up as you go along. Imperceptible. That's the true nature of ourselves. If we really were African spiritualists, we wouldn't have a problem with any other race on the face of the planet, because we know that it is the supreme being, brethren, having an experience. So that's great implications for my thinking. I would not then have an enemy. Those that are really in African spiritualism don't have an enemy. They've transcended their natal personality into the higher realms. So they should. This is what African spiritualism is all about. You can't in one mouth, one breath, talk about African spirituality and still have respect of person, brethren. Still pushing your own little ethnicity. Only we, nobody else can help us. And you got to be brainwashed into something like that, brethren. You say you're African spiritualist. That's a joke business, brethren. If you're a true African spiritualist, you'll know that you're omnipresent. You're omniscient and omnipotent. You share in these things. If I am omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, what am I worried about? That's what I'm saying. I would be able to create the world that needed a harmonious whole. And some of us who claim to be liberators I couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery, couldn't liberate themselves out of a paper bag, brethren, because they have respect of person. They've got a skin colour problem. Yet they talk about African spiritualists. They're stuck at that level of skin problem. They've got a skin problem, colour problem, brethren. And that's why the majority of the blacks haven't. I'm telling you. They haven't got a skin problem, brethren. There's only some little fringe, tiny minority, fringe group that has this problem. And they want to spread their disease into our community. So we become like them. You know, saying all manner of things and knowing nothing at the same time. So let me go and continue with the text. I'll give out the numbers. If you want to interact, the number is to interact is 07404 367618. And I repeat, 07404 367618. Bring it into the studios. And so, texted and said, "Can you turn up the volume?" All our male leaders and celebrities were born women, and all the women were born men all over the world. Black power is finished. From me, get the dumb off. He has been on too long. Well, you see, it's nice to know the opinions of other people of the black race, not just one with that kind of a orientation, that dealing with lost culture, lost tradition, trying to get back into the womb, into the placenta land. You know, it's about, for them, life is about that. But life is not about that for everybody. I'd want you to know. You know, we have a comparison, brethren. Not everybody is orientated to worry about ethnicity, landmass, culture, and a return to the placenta land, brethren. That's not on everybody's agenda. You have some other people, blacks, that are real up there in the scheme of things and can see them, know themselves. And they're getting on with it. Look at us in the minority here. And we're so influential, brethren. We have achievements of blacks that are in the upper echelon in politics, which we know is the only thing that we're going to have to engage in, seriously, to engage in. But we can't have one aspect of ourselves negatively influencing us against that, so you don't actually partake in politics. You'll just stand on the periphery. Herded us into a pen of indecision. We're just sitting there doing nothing. Wallowing away, wasting away with ideologies and wishful thinking about tomorrow. That's where you've been herded. If you want to go down there and see them, they're in that pen over there, brethren. Locked in by their leader. Ask the leader where to next, and they haven't got a clue. But then if you have leaders, you must have leaders of encouragement, strong and powerful. Not chickening out at the prospect of anything else, jail or something like that. You're live on Genesis.
Yes, sir. Yes, Genesis.
Yeah, man. Enough respect.
Yes, brother. You know what? I never understood this rule of the world thing. You know.
Mm.
Yeah, we rule the world thing. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because. You understand? Some people don't want to rule the world. Yeah?
Exactly.
Some people just want their little piece.
That's right.
You understand? The idea. I just feel like, see, this is what for me, right? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Every time I think about New World Order, I used to think that the New World Order kind of thing was based, upon recent history, in terms of how we've been taught.
Mm-hmm.
But more and more, I'm just convinced that Egypt are the place where the first New World Order think about, and conceive,
We were the first ones to think about that.
Right, yeah. So you got all even Asar, yeah, who them call Osiris, yeah. Him become the ruler of the world and then him change it. No, Asar was the ruler of the world, and then Osiris, by the time it came to Greek, it became the ruler of the underworld, yeah.
Yes.
You understand? And it just coming like this domination to rule the world. Just coming from them time there. So what about when the time when people just didn't even want to just rule the world? They just want to just live in it.
They want to live, innit?
You understand? And just do their part there,
exactly,
innit? You understand?
And quite happy with that,
Right. So what I'm saying to you is, though black people was all over the world, you understand? Yeah. If you're talking about ruling the world all over the planet and just doing our thing, you understand? Yeah, they never wanted to own no more than that. People in general never want to own no more than that. But what you find is that other people now decide that they want to come and connect up things and own that.
Yeah.
You understand? Bring in some regulatory body that everybody has to join, and by the time, because you can see like what do call it? Nicene Council, right?
Yeah.
Where the battle, let's just think about that for a second, right? Where the Nicene Council, and they was battling against the African, what's his name, Arius, yeah? And they excommunicated him. They linked up with all of the churches, you understand? And they put a blanket regulation of how people must worship and when they must worship and the signs and all of these things there. And Arius basically got left to the side, innit?
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? And we've seen that same game, different player throughout history. You understand what I'm saying? Even down to even Marcus, when Marcus enough people join UNIA when you get kicked out of the country. Right now, when you went for a job as a black man or a black woman, you had to state your beliefs or your organization that you're involved with. And anyhow you put down UNIA on your form, you understand, you ain't getting no work, you're not getting no job. You understand what I'm saying to you? So it's all about it's all about this control, all about this one world that you can't even express the belief. It is more simpler now to express belief in Satanism and witchcraft, which is now a legal and recognized religion, than it is to be different from the norm of what these people are pushing on the program on us.
Yeah. Well,
you
see, let me say, why would, this idea of them pushing a program on us, seems to me to come from the diaspora and historical African diaspora and thinking about the world. I don't think that the people that are rulers right now are wholly 100% concentrated on us and us only, because they are a class. It's more of classism than racism, brethren. Classism.
The thing about it,
You see what I'm saying?
The thing about it, is that we can see even over here, right? Yeah. Well, you got the government and you got the police then basically running the country, yeah, as an example, yeah, and the one police force divided up into several different areas, police, metropolitan police, city police, all these kind of things, yeah, right. But amongst them now, they connect to some people what they call the underworld. You know what I'm saying to you?
Subculture,
yeah, right. Between them, they're connected to these people who are supposed to be part of the underworld. And what you will find is that these people are the criminals. You understand? So the two of them link. Yeah. And what you will find is that some of these people who are so-called heads of the underworld, they get certain license and power to do certain kind of things. Yeah.
Yes.
And when you check out who they're keeping in line, it's people like fringe groups, like you'd have the Ghanaian so-called underworld boss controlling the Ghanaians, them in all the local areas, as an example, yeah? Same thing with the Turkish, same thing with the Sikh, same thing with the... that's what I'm saying to you.
So it's down to you. It's down to you if you're smart enough, right? They recognize that. Okay, he's a smart brother. We might keep him on board because he's clever. So it's people from every nation that you're speaking about that has this ability to recognize the rulings and what to do. You understand? And they can do it very well. But it's a sheeple. The majority is always ignorant, brethren. The majority of people are ignorant.
The thing about it is that in many forms you're taught to join gangs from your long time. You're taught to take sides. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah? And some people only take sides because the majority of people around them have taken a particular side. You understand what I'm saying to you? Some people take sides purely for survival. You understand? It's like gangs, isn't it? Yeah, because for me it's all the same thing, same game, different player. The gangs them on the streets of London, right, are cooking up their fingers and all of them kind of things. You understand? Bossing Illuminati signs. It's been disguised as gang signs, but it's same way. Illuminati signs boss up same way.
So they got into that. They got into that. I don't know how they got into. They must have opened the door to something, brethren. You see what I'm saying?
No, what it is.
They've opened the door to something.
This is what I'm saying to you. Yeah. What it is, right, is that this is where our people, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, this is where our people then get stuck and lost in it, right? Is that we don't think big enough, we don't think business. You understand? We don't think that business is war. You understand? So the reason why our youths and our people can be so lost, you understand, is because we don't recognize that business is war. You understand? Even for certain cultures to last, even a simple thing like a dance, like certain cultures have got certain dances or certain things in their culture How do they get to keep that, my brother? How do they get that? How do they get to keep that going yearly? So it's 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. They got to treat it like a business, my friend. Yeah. You understand? They got to put something in it, man. So what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
But I think it coming like, for me, I tell you what the big problem has been for me. Yeah, what I realized. Yeah, it's almost like, you know, they say you can't serve two masters. Yeah. And there's that saying that we all love. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't serve two masters, you know. Well, I feel like you can't be conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't be conscious and think about wealth at the same time. Yeah?
Well,
that's what it's coming like.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like you're forced to be one or the other.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, man.
Yo, I want to keep my consciousness, you know. I want to help my people, then. But yo, I want to be wealthy, bro.
Of course.
I got to think about wealth. Bro.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I got to think about next generation. I got to think about these things, bro. You understand?
Yeah, but being conscious doesn't mean you got to be poor.
No, but this is the thing. It coming like they didn't hear the song back in the day about to be poor is a crime. Coming like our people have heard it, but didn't hear it.
Well, put it this way, we're never poor. There's no such thing as being poor, because at the end of the day, what do you call being rich? You see what I'm saying? Having what? Having money you're going to die and leave behind, brethren?
No, it's back to that same thing, innit? When you didn't want the world, you didn't want it all. It's back to that same thing, innit? And some people don't want to be. When they talk about wealth, they're not talking about wanting it all.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying to you? There's some people that, they can't even be wealthy, because as they get the wealth, they're going to distribute it.
Well, it depends on your perception on wealth. You know, what do you call wealth?
Yeah.
I mean, mine.
No, it doesn't matter. Listen, this is what I'm saying to you. It doesn't matter, right? Wealth is a thing that's individual to people. But what I am saying, is that there seems to be, like you're serving two masters. It's like you can't be conscious and so-called your people conscious, and at the same time think about wealth. It's like the two of them come in like oil and water. Why can't they mix? Other people get them to mix.
Yeah.
Why can't we get them to mix?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
It's like a thing right now, right? As an example, there's some couple ideas and there's some couple businesses out there. You understand? Black man ain't funding them. You understand? Our people ain't funding them. So when you see our people then make it now, because they still got whoever's got the invention or the idea, they still got to go around and try to make it, and get it out there. And when they find somebody of a different hue and a different color to fund their thing, and then now say like I got some invention that I want to bring to the table. You understand what I'm saying?
But you forget though. You forget that there are 1.3 million blacks in this country, and it's only, as I said, this little fringe minority that we keep talking about. But obviously, the rest have involved in something, but they're keeping very quiet about it. You understand what I mean?
I'm saying to you, it depends what you're talking about being quiet.
Yeah, because you don't hear them. They know how to behave. They know how to conduct themselves.
Yeah, but listen, this is what I'm saying to you. To me, this is what I'm saying. It's like you can't serve two masters, bruv. Yeah, because like one of the callers then said to you before, when something comes knocking on their door, you understand, everybody's in the same problem. You understand? It will be like America's got this black and brown problem, and that would be black people and the so-called Puerto Rican and Mexican kind of people. We've got our black and brown problem over here. They're called black people, normal, and then the mixed race children, the mixed race people, because they're caught up in things as if they're black. So it don't even matter. We've got our black and brown over it. But what I'm saying to you, if a black person is concentrating on business and thinking of only black people supporting his business, he's always gonna be just doing all right. You understand?
Yeah, if you keep thinking of black only, if you've got a business and it's gonna be black only,
you're just looking to be selling to be black people.
It's stupid as that, brethren. That's not business.
Black people will walk past your shop because you're the black man behind the counter.
Yeah, and there's only black people in there. They're not going to go in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. Yeah,
they're not going to go in there.
This is what I'm saying to you. So you put a couple faces them in there, like an Indian man or a white person in there. You see how quick some of those same black people come in and support the business.
Because they want to belong.
The battle.
That's right.
Yeah, so this is a battle. You understand? And these are the things that we're up against, my brother. You understand? So when I see certain people holding on to certain keys, you understand? And what do I mean by that, right? You have some man, them, right, who they don't even see opportunity because they don't even know what opportunity look like. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah? So when they got like an opportunity, like for instance, like some of these fringe groups that you're talking about, right? They built relationships in these places in Africa, for instance, built relationships, but how much of them got even an export license?
Exactly. How much of them even belong?
What I'm saying to
Not even that. How much of them got citizenship, brethren?
Well, you see, for me, you don't even have to have citizenship.
You have
You've
to.
got export license.
Yeah, but if you
listen, bruv. The Chinese man ain't got no citizenship. The Indian man ain't got no citizenship. The white man ain't got no citizenship.
Oh, you find what
they've all got. I tell you what they've all got. They've all got export licenses. I can tell you that for sure. Yeah, they don't have to have citizenship, but they've got export licenses. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah,
so when you're there balling, my friend, you understand, right? When you're there balling, and everything is the white man and the Asian man and the Jew and the this and the that. Yo, my brother, you understand? I just want to just lock off. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah? Because I will even do your example.
Exactly.
Brother, yeah. Right now, right, people that even know, right, well, they know on a certain level, right. You look at barbers, them now, right, barbershops. Enough of them, ton of them about, ton of them about, right. You go into certain of them barbers there now, right? It's like the price just keep going up and up and up and up and up. I'm like, raw. Listen, man, I went away, right? I went away to a place where enough of them barbers there come from, right? Yards, and I was out there for a while, and I was really enjoying the $300 haircuts, $500 maximum. You understand? Which would have come in like about £2.50. Yeah, I was paying a tenner, £12 when I left England and screwing about it. Don't think I was happy about it, screwing about it, And by the time I come back from yard, I've gone into the barbers, boy, there's been a little increase, When I'm giving them the regular money, of what I left them on, boy, there's been a little increase, $2 more. Man want £14 to cut my hair. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying to you, my brother. And give me a little shave. And I'm like, you know something, bro. It's like when a man come over here and raise up the prices them now. So here what I seen from what they know. You see some man them come and get to understand, say, college, I teach picture here and how to cut all kinds of people's hair, even the black man's hair. You understand? So when now you see all even like the Turkish man or somebody else now, because I've seen them, a few people. You understand, right? Take their youths them to all the barbers and sit down 4 black youths them in a Turkish barber. Turkish man, I cut them here. Where I charge them $5?
Yeah, that's right.
£3, £4.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah? So as far as me concerned, when you see sometimes, we're wicked and we're bad to yourself,
of course.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes. Yeah? So listen. Yeah. That's a good interjection, and I thank you for that. We're becoming nearly half an hour left, but I would like to flip the lines. But that's
cool, man.
Enough respect.
Talk about whatever, understand. But that's my interjection.
Yeah, enough respect.
See?
If you can,
but we need to concentrate on some business, brother.
For real.
You understand? Economics as well, bro.
Yeah,
you
man.
understand?
Yeah, man.
Don't let them just keep on talking about the white man, man. Oh, the Indian man, the Jew man. We can do enough things, my brother.
Yes.
Right now, a man phones up every single week, and I like what he was talking about. First of all, he was talking about weed. You understand what I'm saying to you? Coming like they don't know how to grow the weed business in Jamaica, you understand, apart from smoke it. Yeah. You understand? So now they switched on to some other conversation, which ain't got nothing to do with how do you raise up this money so that you can get involved in the medicinal cannabis industry and not get left behind, because that's the problem. We're always getting left behind. I'm going to leave you on this
point.
Respect.
Yeah? Bless up all the time.
Yeah?
Man.
Well, just one more thing. I'm going to leave you on this point. Yeah?
Okay.
When did you used to hear about moringa before the so-called black community stations then start talking about Moringa, brethren? When did you ever hear about Moringa?
Well, I don't know. When?
Well, it wasn't, bruv.
Okay.
It wasn't spoken about.
Yeah.
You understand? It was a thing that they did have, and then just use it and not even call it a name. It's like nothing special. The minute black people start talk about the qualities and the thing of this Moringa, what then do after people like Lion, King Lion, and all the other doctors and nutritionists, after they done promote it, what do? They go to their factory and they box up the Moringa,
mass produce it
now. And they sell it now in a shop for 99 pence.
99 pence.
Tea bag. Everybody else is selling five. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Then just come in, soup in, box it up, 99 pence. Yeah, brother.
We want a
same
fiver.
Same thing with the CBD. You understand?
40 quid, innit? Is it 40
you
quid?
understand?
40 quid for a little tub?
Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. How do we keep on getting outsmarted, bruv? Do we keep on do the same thing and expect a different result?
That's madness.
Yeah, with that I'm out, yeah?
Respect our time. Bless up.
Cool.
Right on. Yeah, you're in tune to Genesis Radio and People's Talk Show. Time is 5:28 and counting. Numbers to call in if you want to interact are 074 0436 7618. And I repeat, 074 0436 7618. We'll bring it into the studios, and if you want to text in, the numbers are 07931 27 62 and the 32. And I repeat, 07931 27 62 and the 32. We'll bring you into the studios. Text in if you like. Yeah, so I got to finish some of these reading some of these texts here. More came in. So let me just continue with that while I have a chance. If you'd like to hold the calls for a while. Text sender says, large up, Heru. Cha. I'll give you 2 minutes, Bertrand, because I've got to read some of the texts, yeah?
Yeah. What I'm saying is also that people must be aware of England as well, and this has got a lot to do with the black community. They want to make this country not just like America, like Algeria. They want to make this country as bad as it is. There are some people out there who wants to dismantle the country where everybody is robbing each other, everybody's swearing on the Bible, and they're robbing each other every left, right, and centre. I went there and I saw it myself. So what I'm saying is that they must be aware of what is going to come in this country in the future. And I'm telling you this as well. They will put a prime minister there who's just basically moves her hands or moves her arm, and you can't even speak out the truth. They will do this, and they will carry on doing this unless these groups, where there's these diaspora groups, where there is you lot, and where all these stations come together and start to stop their arguments aside. Otherwise, you're going to hear everything taken away, and it's going to be the survival of the fittest, where the black man won't be able to survive it, because I know they will get robbed left, right, centre. I won't be able to survive it because I will get robbed left and centre. Because my friend, I've been to that country. I've seen what it's like. I've seen how bad it is like. I've seen what the security are like. I've seen they didn't even let me out of the party, and I have to stay until 4 o'clock in the morning. I've seen how dictated that country is, and I've seen it. The only thing good about it is the food, that's it. But the rest is just, forget it. I mean, scrap it. It's just, basically, they want to make England like this, like a dictator country. And unless you don't want to see that, Heru, I suppose that you need to start, getting together, or you need to find a way to get your people together. And this is also to Fiona, who's a great person. She goes up and she's taught me a lot of things. She educated me a lot. So I leave it at that.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is I'm very upset with that country, and it's like this country will get like that if you lot don't become together. I'm telling you now. Right?
All right then. No respect for that. Yeah. Well, there's Bertrand's opinion if we don't get together. But the thing is, I can't get together with people who are just talking out the 23rd chapter of their imagination, brethren. They're not orientating me to go back to Africa, brethren. How can I get together with somebody that's not interested in our community? They're more interested in going back home. I want me going back home till I'm real good and ready, brethren, if I ever do. But if I die here, or die anywhere, that's not my true nature, brethren. I'm a child of the universe. I'm not a child of any little piece of a landmass, brethren. I don't determine my spirituality by my landmass. I keep telling people that culture is a pattern of interpreting reality, brethren. And if each individual persons that have a certain a way or pattern of interpreting reality, chooses to stick to it, and don't want to broaden his horizons and go and look at other people's pattern of interpreting reality to see how close it is to their own, and if they have been negatively influenced, not to even go there. That's another like enslavement. So, the slave catchers are out today. Modern slave catchers are trying to keep us narrow to one landmass. Imagine if nobody migrated out of Africa. If it was so great as some of these historical diasporans are making it, then how come, right, that they had to migrate out of Africa, right, thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, right, to populate the rest of the planet? It's not rocket science. Who migrated out of Africa? Wasn't it Africans? Who morphed into other races? Wasn't it Africans, brethren? Black people, then, if you like. So what we can conclude from that? A simple thing. Everybody is African, brethren. And the quicker and the sooner we look at it that way, we're able to build a harmonious whole. Listen, if we were in Egypt right now, it would be key for us to have a harmonious society, brethren. We know who's in there. They crept in from the north of Africa down to lower Egypt, right? And they had children with African women. An African man had children with the other races that were there. There's always been a multi-racial society, whether we like it or not. We're talking about, man. But because we're so dumbed down by some of these know-nothing personalities, cult-like leaders that have the weak and impotent locked up in some sort of some ideology, brethren. Ideological nonsense, brethren, to try to make you, even though we say so many times that we're interconnected. I even hear them saying it. Interconnected, yet we're separate and fragmented. How do you work that one out? If we're inextricably linked, how can you say only we and nobody else can so don't you think that even if you're rich, you're going to have to need other people to make you feel rich, brethren? We're talking about, it's not going to just be your own you're going to have to deal with, brethren. So when they come with this kind of a only us ideology, it's for the weak and impotent mind, brethren. The manipulation of those that can't take anything else in their brain. There's just that and that alone. And they want to educate you against having any education, So you've got to be like a dum-dum for them as far as they're concerned. You've got to know nothing. Duh, my brain hurts. If you attempt to have any papers, ooh, you're going to be dumb as your leader. You cannot afford to have any. They're not going to educate you, encourage you to go and get educated. It doesn't, regardless of whose culture in charge, brethren. When we were in charge, they came to Africa for their learning, didn't they? Everybody, just like how they come to England for their learning. It's not rocket science, right? They came to Africa for their learning. So if we have to go to Europe for our learning, the Europeans who are going to teach us what they learned from us in the first place, in any case, it's no big thing, brethren. Why are you so negative against that? Because you want a bunch of sheep, that's what you want, to follow your ideology, right? To bow to you, to say, yes, sir, 3, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir, yes, sir. Because you got them by the ghoulies. You're taking advantage of the sheep, brethren. You're the wolf that worries the sheep. You're not helping nobody. You see, and the sheep are too dumb to know this. They'll follow you over the cliff. That's your problem. But I certainly ain't be going with you. Now, let me just read some more texts here. I'm too clever for that. Let me see. Come here. Large up Heru. A lot of Back to Africa heads must be hurting today with all the rationale logic. Yes, their ideology is too narrow and petty. Truth is Africa and Africans have been and are some of the most outward-looking and industrious people on earth. That's true, and I do agree with that. That's what we were in the beginning, brethren. Now I've got some little know-nothing personalities, cult-like leaders, dumbing us down all of a sudden now. Africa and only Africa. If we thought like that, then the world wouldn't be populated, brethren. That's what I said before. If we're thinking like how this little, I don't know what to call them, want us to think only we can heal ourselves. Only we. What are you trying to do? You're in violation of the law. So you want to get me to violate the law of Usair? The 11 laws of Ma'at. You seem to love talk about Ma'at. Not the 42 negative confessions, brethren. We're talking about the 11 laws of Ma'at, brethren. That you have to program into your prefrontal lobe, according to the Nafa Amen. Right? Which includes everybody. If you are violating the first sphere, the law of Heru, the law of Usair, where the Supreme Being has multiplied itself into myriads, and that's the law. You're telling me I must come away from that and become isolated, fragmented, patriotical, patriotism, rather, encouraging me to do that. You're encouraging me to violate the law. And a lot of you out there have been violating the law of Usair, brethren, when you cannot see the unity of all men. And as long as you cannot see and are educated or negatively influenced not to see the unity in all men, you will continue to be in violation of the law. I don't care whose big mouth is going to be telling you that. I'm not going to be educated to violate the law of Usair, brethren. How can I do that? How can I violate the law? Let me finish reading. Sorry, text sender. You got me going on that one. Text sender. Let me continue. 177 says the narrow, petty sounding ideologies blaring would never sit right with most of them, and for good reason. Those fringe groups live in their own imagination and would have us living some backward, isolated existence like Amish folks. No thanks. There's more to life than just skin color, true, and selective notions of culture. Africa is outward looking, and whether we like it or not, it's inclusive. Look at the popular music now, with all of its African influence and collaboration with other groups too. Anyway, I've said enough. Bless up. Enough respect, sis. Sis, why don't you, when are you, I'm tired of asking you anyway, but maybe one day it might surprise us. When another text come in, where are we? Text sender, where are we? Oh, it's an incoming call. You're ringing, let me tell them. Hello? Ringing the wrong phone. Yeah, number, you ready for it now? 074 04 36 76 18. Yeah, respect. Yeah, man, cool. Yeah, right on. Right on. Let's see where we are now. Well, yeah, get text sender says, Hi Heru, it's that mighty cool breeze on the phone right now. Yes, mighty cool breeze was on earlier. Yeah, right on. Text sender says, Heru, we've been paying our other people's mortgage for the last 500 years. So why not give them hustlers a little bite? True. Everybody's got to eat. That's true. But don't eat off my back, brethren. Don't tell me about liberation. I want you to nyama for me, brethren. What kind of thing is that? You think everybody's stupid? You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. You're live on Genesis.
Hello, I ain't gonna keep it too long here, but
right on. Yeah,
just some of the things you said in the past when people say make we go back to Africa, like right now, as you can see that Africa is leading, leasing certain parts of their land.
Oh yeah.
To other nationalities.
That's right. That's right.
You see, and the thing is, there's us as the outsiders who were stolen from Africa. Yeah. Don't you think that if they really did care for us, don't you think they would designate each country would designate a plot of land for those who want to come back and don't demand any passports, any big.
That's right.
You understand?
It's logical.
They really did, so we're banging our head against the wall.
A brick wall. But you know what as well? You know what as well? It's not that. See, thing is, the way I try to understand the African Union. But we keep getting calls from some of these little diaspora and historical. Only a fringe, small bunch of them think that the African Union should open the doors and let them in. When the Chinese go to Africa, they're not coming with no long hand, are they?
Long hand, yeah.
They're not coming with no demands. Then when the African come, when the Chinese come to Africa, they come with billions of dollars, brethren.
Yeah, man.
If you was a government at that time and you had a choice between a bunch of people that's coming making demands some 500 years ago, demands to you, I want some land, I'm entitled to this land because we were sold, we were stolen away. And if you're an African government looking in, and someone's coming into your land with them demands, you have another people coming in saying, all right, we've got billions of dollars here, mate, right? And we've got some skills, right? We want to build roads for you, right? For whatever deal you want to make, you know what I mean? Which one would you take, brethren?
Yeah, man. It's obvious, man. It's obvious.
Well, it's not rocket science, is it?
But I'm not going to stay too long.
Yeah,
but I want to say one more thing here, because you got messages to read out.
Yeah, man.
But there was a thing I heard about something called Afrotech in America. Yeah. Afrotech. I think they had an event in America a few days ago. Yeah, and I just researched it, and there's actually an event next year, 2019, in April, from the 12th to the 14th of April.
Really?
2019. And it's called Afrotech. So they're talking about technology.
Yes.
It's going to be a tech festival, and that's the level, or this is the level that we should be on.
Yes.
That is the level that I remember that brother called the person that called back two calls ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about businesses.
Yes.
I remember that brother used to be on a station. Now, I remember one time a woman called up, came in his show, and him and her chat on the radio station from 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, till the morning. I fell asleep and I wake up and him and the woman was still talking. Yeah, man. They was talking about, so big up to that brother there.
Yeah, man.
And he might not want to mention his name, but
you
know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
You know, but big up to that brother there, I remember him. You know what I mean? And so there's man out there trying to do work from long time.
From long time. Long before even I come on the radio.
Sorry?
Long before even I come on the radio, the man have been doing
things. Well, you see? Right, but the thing is that is what we should be on, man. Because all these young little children, and if you give them a mobile phone, they can do you can even make a song.
Yes.
On a mobile phone.
Yeah.
You can make a song on
a
tablet.
And sound bad as well, and sound good too.
Yeah.
Joking.
You got equalizer, echo.
You don't need no studio.
Compression, everything.
You don't need no studio, brethren.
No. Just a little iPad that's fast.
What?
And the software.
Yeah, man.
And you're ready.
Yeah.
You know, so what I'm saying is this is the level that we should be on.
Well,
technology.
See, the thing is, Africa has always have that in view. You think Africa is stupid? What I don't understand with some of these little historical diaspora trying to make Africans look stupid. Like, they like them to know what they might do. You know what I'm saying? And like, they've got the idea what they're doing, and they can't even organize a piss up in a brewery because they're in the problems here in their own community, but they've got their eyes on Africa.
Seriously, man.
You know, it don't make an ounce of sense, brethren.
One of the last places I went, I met a young brother. He's about in his 20s, and we was just chatting, and he said to me, I said, so what do you think is one of the problems with the youths then, man? He said, we need jobs, brethren. We need jobs. So it's obvious that is one of the main issues. Them, man, they need to be employed.
That's right. And we don't have to
They need money in their pocket.
Listen, we don't have to go to Africa to get employed. We get the money right in our community and employ them right here. Don't have to send them to Africa to get employed over there. You got a lot of people unemployed over there as well, brethren.
There's courses where we can go here and teach you how to create your own app.
Yes.
And those apps you put on your mobile phone for like $2. if 20,000 people buy that thing for £2, that's £40,000 in your pocket. And this is, as I said, this is the mentality. It's no good arguing about she's got this and they've got that.
Yeah.
If we say, all right, boom, there's a meeting in December and everybody come there with the idea, and we're going to write this idea down. We're trying to implement it within the following year. That's progress, man. It's not worth arguing over what he's got and what she's got.
Yeah, and plus,
you know what I mean?
and plus, when the youth them see that we're creating things for them here, brethren.
Yeah.
They got more. They got more.
The old time saying, from the Caribbean, that they used to say, "Take your eye out on the plate."
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't stop watching the next man.
Sure.
Stop watching him. We do our own thing, man.
That's right.
And like I said, I'm gonna put on the phone now.
Yeah, man.
All I'm saying is check out Afrotech
Yes, I will
Festival.
Yes.
And it's coming next year. And these are the things we want to try and start involve ourselves in, man, because technology is the way.
Well, if you get any information, just keep us informed, bro. You know what I mean?
I just Googled the American one, but then I realized when I tap it in, there's the English one as well. There's one in London.
What is it? Africa doing this?
No, it's just black people. It's a black festival.
So you see, yes.
About technology.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so it's going to be next year. There was one this year. I didn't even know about that.
It's called what? What's the name of it?
It's called, if you just type in Afrotech, that's AFRO.
But FRO, Afrotech. You know
one word, yeah.
One thing I wish they could do is just lose the name Afro, man. Just put it tech. You know, why do we have to keep identifying African and black? God Almighty. You know, all right, fine, we've been left behind a bit, but we have to crawl our way back up with these tags, brethren.
Yeah, you're right, you know, because like Caller said previously, it's like if you have a shop and you say like black,
black,
you
know, this.
Black
it
this,
put
black
people
that.
Off, brethren.
Yeah,
it's political.
You have to be wise, man.
It's political.
You have to be wise.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we've got to be wise, you know, penny wise and pound foolish or whatever it is. But I thank you very much for your interjection, bro.
Yeah, no problem, man.
No respect. Best upon a time. All right. Thank you for that. Yeah, there you have it, folks. We're going to be reading out some text. Down that one. Oh, okay. Right on. What's on? Okay, right on. Yeah, I've just been asked to limit talkers' times, please. I did say that in the beginning, but I got carried away myself. You're live on Genesis.
Yeah, greetings, Heru.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know you were still on, bro.
What? Yeah, well, you turned off after you finished? You turned off?
No. I thought Reese was bloody coming on.
Nah,
you know what I mean?
Reese ain't been on, mate. You know, he picks his...
Hey, Reese ain't...
Eh?
Reese ain't been on.
No, he hasn't. Well, he doesn't come every time, mate. You know what I mean? You know,
yeah.
So
what I was saying, though, bro, I just catch the last piece. So what I have to know is that, listen, I think we just need to breathe. Just need to breathe.
Breathe?
Just have all the sisters and man and let's breathe at the place.
I see what you mean. Yeah, but if you breathe up, how are you going to feed them, brethren?
Well, that never stopped us before.
Oh, okay, true.
You understand? Breathe up the place, breathe up. Listen, you understand? Right.
Well, that's what they fear, anyway. Right. That's what they fear. The Europeans fear us taking their women and breeding them up.
Genetic annihilation.
Annihilation. They're scared of that, brethren.
But what I'm saying is, right, it's the other way, because what we fear is that, your host, your co-host.
Yes, she's not here today. She should have been, but something must have happened.
Yeah, your co-host. But what I'm trying to say is within a few generations, the other way around, listen, you won't even see...
Keep talking, yeah? Just keep talking for me, please.
Yeah, I've just seen Brother Heru in terms of like a few generations where you breed that way around, right? If you have mixed race, right, breed up with white, with European, and then you have the European breed up with... Listen, even the features go out, you wouldn't even know they're here. And that's it. Yeah, man. You be breathing out of your own thing.
For real.
I've seen it. The people with war.
Yeah.
They said they didn't know my grandfather was in the war.
Okay.
And that's it.
Yeah, man.
So
where's your people from? Jamaica?
My people is from the human culture. They're from.
That's
They're
a
from.
politician talking about a virgin,
They're
brethren.
from. Dude, they are from the like what you would say.
Are you from Caribbean?
No. And what you're saying is that we are from the
unmanifested
myriad.
matter.
We are the myriad.
No, we're from the we're from the unmanifested matter. That's where I come from, brethren.
Yeah, I can't even beyond that. You know what I mean? Because
you can't go beyond there.
It is manifested, but it's beyond the manifested.
Yeah, the undifferentiated.
Yes, so that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from the same page as you, bro.
Yes, yeah.
Because
okay,
the myriad.
You got me on that one.
I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you can't test. You can't test me about where your people's from.
Yeah.
My people's from the dark matter.
All right. Yeah.
That's it.
Yes, for real. I understood.
So what I'm saying is, but why don't we just link up with the sisters?
Maybe do you want to start that then? Do you want to start a club for that then? Maybe we can incorporate that as well. But you see, what you could be mindful of, some little perverts about the place, brethren. You don't know who you're linking up with. Next thing you know, they murdered the people. Them. That's what they were. That's
No.
That's why people get scared about that, because you have to meet people and you don't know who you're linking up. I mean, there's a lot of lonely heart clubs and stuff like that, which you find when you hear about them, that things happen from that. You know what I mean, as well. So I'm not trying to scaremonger. I'm not trying to scaremonger, but I don't know how you do that. You know, I mean, because I'm looking to do.
Yeah, no, but you have to have security. You have to have kind of like.
Well, the way we can do it is let's have like I'm looking to have some coach.
Well, they have to go. They have to go through. If they don't go through, it's like they have to go through
vetting.
They pass your
vetting system.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But you see what I'm going to do? I'm going to plan to have some coach trips up to Derby. I've got a friend in Derby. We plan to do some stuff. I'm going in next week to set up some stuff so we can have, back in the day we used to have pantomime. Do you remember pantomime? Where the communities used to take, the communities used to have a coach trip. I remember I went on one when I was about 5 or 6 and take the children to pantomime and give them some presents and we come back home.
Yeah.
So allow the parents
taking part.
Allow the parents to have some time to themselves.
Yeah.
So I remember them days back in the day. Call it pantomime. Pantomime. Those of my age would remember that.
Yeah. And the parents just like have a beer, and it's like God, and it's like have a little trip,
have a little break, brethren. Or if you want to go with the children, you can go with the children. Or if you have friends, you can send them with. And we used to be like a family, a proper community. You understand what I'm saying to you? This is a good thing. So we could be thinking about those things in time to come. We've got a lot of DJs here in Genesis who I'm sure would be glad to support a thing like that. But we're working on it so that we can have it. I was looking to have a singles night, maybe on some holiday. We can say all those meet those in Derby, women who are single, men who are single in Derby, to meet. Coach people down here.
You see the man with the big pecs and the big chest. They pick up the whole. You know what I mean?
It's an idea, of course. Man, we can work on that because we need a unity. We need. I just said we need.
The sister. All this is what I'm trying to say, right? It's a very visual. It's a very visual thing, The sisters are just looking at the man with the monkey man, the big pecs. And I say, it's a gorilla, man.
Well,
you know what I mean? It ravish me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, some women, they like to... Anyway, well, I'm going to that now. But what I'm saying to you is that we could have discussions on that as well. What women like about a man and what a man would like about a woman. See whether we can accommodate each other. You know what I'm saying? It's all those things. We can have that discussion. And maybe if you could meet, you might find that you're not that bad at all, but you just need to have a little different characteristics about yourself, a different approach to them. They do what they like, you know what I mean? They do what you like. You find you're not
this is what I'm trying to say, bro.
Yeah, you might not be, you find you're not very far away.
We're in a patriarchal, this is what I'm trying to say, Heru, right? We're in a patriarchal kind of system.
Yeah, for real, man thing.
And and what the sisters don't realise, that they control the running.
Of course they do. Yeah, they do. And you know what? And they're probably, as I said, man is not meant to be alone, brethren. No man is an island. You know what I mean? No man stands alone. You see what I'm saying?
But at the same time, right? You're not supposed to just like spread. You're not supposed to have only for women. Like spread everything.
You know what? That's supposed to be the discussion.
Because once you.
There, you know, we meant to have that. If my co-presenter come in, we'd probably have had that discussion. But we'll have that next week about the multiple relationships between multiple people. It's wrong or right. As far as I'm concerned, it's happening anyway. It's happening anyway, whether you like it or not.
This is what I'm trying to say. Because once you're on the pum pum team, right?
Come on, son. You could have done better than that. You
know, no. I mean. All right.
Sure.
What I'm trying to say is that.
Yeah, man. Your DJ rigs that make up nice over the brethren.
We are talk about. Selector. We don't selector. You're talking about, man. A gangster, real boy. I talk about.
Yeah, carry on.
No, but what I'm trying to say, though, Heru, no, that's what I'm trying to say. In that mindset, you just know how to do that. But the thing is, right, is that I think when you buck up a nice sister and then she plays the same game on you.
Yeah, but does she like you though? This is the thing.
Isn't it?
Does she like you? See, you have to go. You might like her sister, but she may not like you. And not to say it won't work, because she can end up liking you. You have to be a strategist, brethren. I thought you were weird. By the sound of your voice.
What you are you trying to? Are you trying to change the system? Are you trying to say you can work brain and change this? You can make me like you?
Well, let me show you give a quick example before we close. Marriage is a. Marriage is a contract, you know what I mean? It's not. We don't get married because of this thing called love, you know, and it shouldn't be that way. And most people don't like arranged marriages because they think we should choose. But it's not wrong if our parents choose or anyone choose for you. And even if you didn't like that person, you have a reason to stay together because you're married, not because you love somebody, brethren. It's a contract. You understand? And that person may get to like you after a while. It doesn't start with I like
that's
you.
A whole. That's it. Bruv, you entered the whole show. Hey, bruv, I need to talk to you. I need to get your reasoning in that, bro.
Yeah, man, I'm going to have that discussion next week. You know, we can have that next Sunday if I'm on. We can have that one. We meant to have that today. Alea didn't make it today. Big up Alea wherever you are, and your family if you're listening. But she did suggest that we can have that reasoning, and I think it's about time we had that reasoning in any case. You know, what I mean, too much lonely people.
Big up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Listen, Heru, there's only two men like Brother G and Brother
Reese.
Yeah, look.
he's a lonely man.
Listen,
he's a lonely man.
I'm telling you, right, there's some good, some things fun, some good pum fun and things, you know?
Here we go again. Hey, listen, all right, I got to say goodbye because I've got 2 minutes to go. Yeah, and got DJ Riggs on in the wing. Yeah, enough respect.
I'll take, bro.
Yeah, respect all the time. Right, we come to the end of our show, you know, and DJ Riggs in the wing, waiting to set things up for you to carry you through that. Maybe you can play some love tunes for you, make you get the mood of love. You know what I mean? And things like that. Stay in tune to Genesis. DJ Riggs up next. Well, there's only one thing left for me to say, and that is what I always say, and that is, this is Heru saying, I am out.
Accept your own and be yourself. Genesis Radio thanks you for your visit.